You know, I will say loud and proud, confidently, no erectile dysfunction over here. I'm actually very happy about that.
I've been lucky.
It sounds terrible.
I've had people close to me have to deal with it. You know, it's the same with cancer. You just got to support them.
You have to be like, listen, I know you're going through a lot, but it's going to be okay.
Give them some medications when you can.
Yeah.
Do you have an intro? Are we going?
That was going to be the intro. I was thinking, the intro? Like, you know, that's what is better than that?
Soft queen.
I'll tell you guys, though. Hello and welcome to episode 119 of Ruse Radio. We are back at it again with a very special guest. Our special guest is, please introduce yourself, sir.
Kevin Hart. No.
Yeah.
Just stealing all of Mark Norman's essence. I'm Chase Richard. I'm a stand-up comedian.
Imagine if I did have like Kevin Hart in here. That would be such a trip.
It'd be a big pull.
I'm trying to like get some random ass like giant guest. Kevin Hart would be a good one.
That's why I made the Mark Norman joke, is because he works so often. You will just see him on a random podcast with like 100 views. You're like, what the fuck are you doing there?
I'm glad you said that,
Norman,
because he's on that list.
Yeah.
I've like thought that. I've thought like, dude, I've seen him on the most random podcast ever.
Yeah.
I remember once I heard him say he did a podcast with some guy in a McDonald's and it was never released. It was like an hour long.
Sounds like the guy just wanted to hang out with him for a while.
Yeah. I wonder if he's, you know what I always wonder when I think about that though, is he too popular now? Like, has he gotten to the point where he can't do that anymore?
Yes.
Maybe.
So then the question is, who is that guy that's a little less popular? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's plenty of them.
That's what I'm saying. You just get a random big pull. Like, I had a friend in Holland. They did podcasts with Lil Xan, which I don't listen to his music, but I know of him.
That's cool.
So it was a big pull, and you just randomly like, fucking Lil Xan's on your pod? So...
And it's always something like that. You just got to get somebody random. It could be you, sir. Chase Richards could be the next Richard Pryor.
Count on it.
Yeah. I mean, what... You were telling me before that you just moved here.
Yeah.
So did you just start comedy, or did you start comedy how long
No,
ago?
I've been in it like 5 years.
Nice.
I hate saying 5 years because I started like 6 months before COVID happened. So I got 6 months in and then a year and a half where I didn't get to do comedy, basically. So 5 years with a little asterisk next to it. So.
Yeah. So more like 3 years, you would say?
Kind of like three and a half of actually doing stand-up, but... I don't know. You can't. I was in stand-up brain for all of COVID, so it feels weird to not count it, but I just didn't do
stand-up brain.
Yeah, I was just focused on finishing college so I could go do stand-up once the world was alive.
It's kind of like you got like a little bit of time to like recharge your stand-up brain.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't need the time yet. I needed to go out and bomb more. I needed to figure out I was bad.
Yeah.
I didn't get to... that was the problem. Is like usually with every new comedian, you find out you're bad at some point, as you should. That's the only thing that makes you better is you go, oh, I'm fucking bad at this. And then you get better. But I didn't, because I went 6 months and I was just to the point of like, I should about to think I'm bad. And then everything locked up and it was gone away. So I was just back to... almost feeling like a new comic, like just watching podcasts and being like, oh, I would love to do comedy. Like, I needed to be in it longer so I could realize I'm bad. But I got that later. I realized I was bad, and I hopefully have gotten better.
Well, that's all that could happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I got any worse.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, no.
You're looking back at clips from like 6 months ago. You're like, shit, I was actually so much better. I was in my prime
I do
a year
have
ago.
jokes that I've looked back on, like, I just had a funny idea. I just didn't know how to tell it. And it bothers me. I'm like, why the fuck can I write that today? Why did I write a funnier joke when I didn't know how to tell it?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I wrote it, so it's... And it's not like I'm a fucking Louis C.K. or Jerry Seinfeld or, like... where people have seen my material and they're going to know if I'm doing old stuff. No, I've been in it 5 years. No one knows any of my material at all. I can do stuff I wrote from day one, or I can do stuff I wrote yesterday. As long as it's funny.
Is there like jokes that you have from a while ago that you've like figured out over time? Like you've made them better and they're like from when you first started?
I have one that I'm doing now and I consider it a new bit, but I wrote it like 6 months into comedy and never could tell it where people understood. That's a lot of it, is articulating like, this is what I think, and this is why it's funny. Now I need you to understand why it's funny. It's a lot of that, and I could never figure that out. And now it's like, it's just about Shakespeare, and it's like we still use words that he created in whenever the fuck he was alive, 18th, 16th century. I'm dumb. But either way.
I think it's the 16th.
It could have been 1997. Right? I don't know. I don't know.
He was around when Kiss was around, I'm pretty sure.
But either way, we use words that he used, and I don't like that because I have to have a job now. So if Shakespeare's alive and I was alive, I would also have a job. And I don't need people coming to me like, oh, you hear the new word from the fancy playwright? No, I was busy tilling a field and burying my third son. I didn't have time to hear the new words. But that one was one I wrote like early on, and I was just like, I think it's funny we still use his words. And everyone's like, no, we just use them. It's fine. But literally having to come back to it and be like, I don't know, fucking, now I know how to at least express, even if you don't think it's funny, I know how to tell you what I think is funny about it. That's like the big part.
Interesting.
I don't give a shit if you think it's funny. I want to at least say it correctly to know why I think it's funny.
But you, okay.
Sorry,
it's
I'm
like
getting so into it. I talk about like dicks and stuff. I'm not even like a comic on stage. I'm like, you got to think about what I'm saying. No, I talk about I'm talking about like mayonnaise and ranch. Like that's my demographic.
But it has to make sense though. Like you can't just say mayonnaise and ranch.
Yeah.
You have to explain why mayonnaise and ranch is funny is what you're saying.
When I tell people I don't trust people that dip their fries in mayo, they're just like, okay. I'm like, what? Never mind, I guess. But I don't think you should.
I've dipped my fries in mayo.
Of course, dude.
Maybe only like once though, man.
I've seen it. You got a cat and a dog in this household, dude. Things are all cattywampus, dude. I knew it.
Cattywampus. Is that a real word?
People have said it at me enough that I would hope so.
Cattywampus.
That's how I feel about with juxtaposition too.
I really like that word a lot.
Yeah.
Cattywampus. Juxtaposition's a real word for sure though.
Yeah.
Juxtaposition's like
sure.
It's
you say so.
You never like Google the word. You're never like, maybe it's time. Maybe I need to figure this one out.
I think if you say it around me 3 times in 1 week, I'll believe you. My old roommate Dante, he's also a comedian. We all lived together with like a bunch of comedians, and he would be explaining like a joke or a thing that happened, and be like the juxtaposition, and I'm like, what the fuck? But he used it enough. I'm like, no, I get it. I understand it. It's like when you're reading a book and you're like, I don't know that word, but it'll make sense.
That's, I think about that too. Like that's how they used to figure out words.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't have a dictionary, like
I'm
if
just
there
a dumb
wasn't
guy,
a dictionary.
So I assume if you tell me something enough, I'm like, okay, sure. I'm not.
Yeah, it's funny. I do that, but like I'm so impressed with myself when I'm right. Like I'll say a random word to try to like fill in a blank, And then because I'll be like, wow, I just used a really good word. I have to look that word up, and I look it up. I'll be like, wow,
I used it right.
Cacophony was the perfect word to use.
You're making that up now.
No, dude. Or like so like let me think of like a good word, like a okay. So if I said like that was a titular phase of his career. And then like,
did you just come on this podcast make me feel dumb? Is that what's happening right now? Nah, come over and wait outside and feel like an idiot, dude. I'm gonna use big words you don't know.
Hey, you give me a big word. You probably got a good one, man.
Thesaurus is my biggest word. I went to community college. I don't know words.
Hey, dude, you should be proud of yourself.
I'm 27. I still use words like fam, cap.
I use that word.
That's.
I say what's up, fam. I say it to my dog and my cat.
That's why. But they can't. I do too. And there are people that can't tell us, hey, you look stupid. So
yeah, hey,
not you.
It's not about how you look. It's about how you feel. You see what
I also feel stupid. I feel stupid like 90% of the time though.
You think you do?
Yeah, I'm going through most things. Like I will go get somewhere and it's like I'll get angry and then I'll regress because I'm like, no, I am a dumbass. I should probably stop. Like I'll show up to a thing. Like a bus stop, and a bus will pass, and I go, fucking bus ignored me, and then I stop for a second, and I go, oh, that's probably the wrong bus. It wasn't even the bus that's for this station. It doesn't stop here. And then the next bus that comes, it's the wrong bus still, but they stop for me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I was an asshole, I'll just get on. I operate like Mr. Magoo most of the time, just stumbling through things.
See, but like, I think like, as long as you know that's who you are and you're aware of it, I think if you embrace it, it's actually like a fun thing, right? Like you just got to be that.
Literally.
Yeah.
I do until my girlfriend's around, and then I'll start dropping, like the way you're like, I'll use words and hope it's right. I do that, but with like facts. I'll tell her like, they actually built that before they had electricity, so there's a flame on top of that. And then later I found out it's completely wrong, and I'm like, I heard it from a thing. I don't even. I'll drop false facts all the time, just. Because if in the moment, if you look at me and go, is that true? I'll go, nah, I'm fucking with you. Like, I will tell you. But a lot of times people go, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so interesting. And then I just run. Yeah, and then like 302 people died while building this. So that's the names that are on the side of that. I just create the entertainment where you can.
That's real misinformation, folks.
Yeah.
If you've ever wondered what misinformation looks and sounds like,
me.
It's this guy.
Don't believe most of what I tell you.
That's a fun thing to do, though, because people really do take a lot of things at face value.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you got to ride the line of what's believable enough with something like that. Okay.
I'll tone it back around, like, at least non-comedians or people that don't necessarily know I'm always fucking kidding and I'm always dicking around. Because like people like normies at my jobs, they would say something like, "Oh, it's a big pan of bacon grease," and I go, "Oh, bacon grease was my nickname in high school." And they look at me and go, "Really?" I'm like, "No, you fucking. It was a funny thing you said, so I tried to," and I just have to ignore it and I go, "Never mind."
You don't like go into a tangent about like, yeah, I got some bacon grease on my fingers when I was in the 7th grade.
I would for a second, but then they still believe that even. I'm like, you fucking, like, it would be stuff like, literally like Wall Cheese. I'm like, oh no, Wall Cheese was a band I had. And they're like, what? And I'm like, no, we played a couple tours. One guy OD'd to heroin, so it's we cut it down. And they're like, oh my God. I don't like to then have to be like, well, I'm kidding. It's just like, well.
Dude, if that was the reaction, I would let them believe it.
I
would not even, you don't correct it?
Yeah, well, now I don't even get to those bits anymore. I just give them simple little, like I said, I'm like, oh, it's what they call it. And they go, really? And I just go, no,
I find that to be so entertaining just because, like, you could create so many versions of yourself in these people's heads. Like, if you just kept making shit up and you just committed to that bit, you accepted, because again, like, you accept who you are. You're that guy, right? I'm that guy that does that. You could have people be like, they would spread a rumor. They would start talking to the other coworkers.
I did realize
that. You know he was in a band named, it was like something about cheese. I can't even remember.
Literally, it's like, guy died.
Some cheese band, some guy died.
I started doing that. I just quit because fuck jobs, so hire me.
Yeah. This is an application.
I do have an interview to go to after this. That's what real comedy looks like.
That's what real comedy looks like. You don't become a professional mind blower overnight. You got to do it over and over again. And while you're a professional mind blower, you got to do other stuff on the side until people realize, wow, this guy blows minds so well, then maybe that should just be his day job. It's just the way it is, folks. You can't just blow minds. You got to let them know that's what you do. And if you want to let them know a little bit quicker, maybe you get a t-shirt that lets them know. That's right, folks. Professional mind blower t-shirts out now. We got smalls, we got mediums, we got larges, and we can make more sizes if you so please. It's a great way for you to support the show. It's a great way for you to let me know that you love what we're doing. It's a great way for you to let the folks know that you're a professional mind blower, so you can quit that day job and just professionally blow minds for a living. If you want to support the show, but you don't want to get a t-shirt, well, I'll tell you how you can do that. It would be Patreon, folks. $5 a month, the price of a coffee, the price of a beer at the bar, and you let us know that you love this show. You let us know that you like what we're doing, you want to see some more, and you make it a little bit easier for me to pull in people and highlight their talents, because that's what this show is all about, all right? It's about me bringing people in and showing you what makes each one of us unique, what makes each one of us special, and there's something different for each one of us. And so it's what I love to do, and if you like that too, please let me know. It supports me, it keeps me moving, and one day this will be all I ever do, all right? We'll quit that day job like we were talking about, and we'll just professionally blow minds for a living. Now, I'm pretty sure our homie Chase has a story.
But I worked at an old folks, like independent living community. So I would like serve old people their food. And I would tell them, either me or my friend Diego, we would tell them like different, like, oh, Diego's got to get out of here early. He's got 5 stepkids. He's going to go take them to the zoo. Diego's not even in a relationship to have a woman with 5 stepkids, but it's still, so then later they'll come up to Diego and go, I heard about the 5 kids. And Diego's so just quick with the joke too. He'll go, yeah, it's real tough. Little Lupita, she's got a little cold, so we're trying to get through it. Like, we would do that with residents. Hindsight, I do feel bad because it's like we're playing tricks on them, but it's nothing malicious. It's just literally stuff like they'd come to me like, I heard you're a comedian. And I'd go, whoever told you that is lying. I'm an electrician. I don't know what. There must be lying to you here. You must not have real friends. You better check your friends group right now. And then come up later and she goes, she said you're a comedian. I go, yeah, I am. I do comedy after this. Just, it's fun. So then later they're like, is he the electrician or does he tell jokes? So
they're like legitimately confused.
Oh yeah. But it's fun. Like I said, it's never anything mean, and we're all friends with them. But like I would just confuse, like they'd be confused in my story. Like, does Diego have 5 kids or not? And I'm like, who's to say, man? Like, you told me. And I'm like, can't even figure it out. You know, can't circle that square, brother. They don't.
See, but you're basically telling them, like, if they can't pick up on that, they deserve to not know.
Yeah, and then, like I said, it's nothing mean. We are just playing, like, it's like when you have a substitute teacher. And you go, all right, I'm Corey today. You're Chip. You just switch it up. Like, it's just the simplicity of that. It's like, no one's having fun but us just because we're dumb. But like I said, 90% of my life I'm operating, I'm like, well, I'm a dumb guy, so what would a dumb guy do?
Yeah. I mean, okay. I feel like to be smart is to be dumb, though, right? Like, to be truly smart.
See, smart people say shit like that. Dumb guys like me, I'm like, I like cigarettes and Malort. Like,
But what I'm saying is that you're more, like, okay, before we started this podcast, we said how dogs are more connected with nature, okay?
Yeah.
If dogs are more connected with nature, I would argue dogs are pretty dumb. Dogs are pretty dumb. They're not
dogs
like...
are dumb, yeah.
On a scale of, like, intelligence, dogs are pretty dumb. Like,
dogs have no idea what fucking Bluetooth is.
Exactly.
But also, neither do I.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See, so if you are like a dog and you are like your intelligence is so low, like you say...
That's a plug. Dog Comic Productions. Check them out on Instagram. That's a plug right there. That was so natural. Oh,
Dog Comic Productions on Instagram.
So natural. Holy shit.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Dude.
Did I just naturally roll right into
Naturally roll? I didn't pay him $20 to mention dogs. Let's...
Dude, I'm impressed with myself right now.
That's funny. No, I just had the hoodie and I just threw it on.
What is that?
It's just a group, production group of me and a couple other comedians. They live in Detroit now. We all live, it was the ones I lived together in a house with in Grand Rapids, but we run shows, do sketches, a bunch of shit like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, haven't as much, I mean, they have continued to run open mics and shows in Detroit, but since I've been in Chicago, I'm just trying to get my fucking
They went from
bearings
Grand
here.
Rapids to Detroit?
Yep, and then I went here.
So did you start doing comedy with them?
No, but post-pandemic, they were like the first friends I made back in comedy. Like my buddy Dante, like, because I knew Nicole, it's Nicole, Dante, and Niles, and I knew Nicole from pre-COVID, and then in COVID moved to Grand Rapids, and then started comedy again, and then me and Dante immediately became like really close friends, and then years down the line, then Niles, he started a little bit later than us. Now I've only been in it 5 years. He's been in it a couple years now. It's not like he just came in after us. Like at this point, it's like I was a sophomore, he was a freshman. You know what I mean? Like there's not that separation. But we all like came and just kind of were buddies and started doing comedy together. We did a Chicago trip and we're like, let's do a fucking theater show. I bet all of us have enough people in Michigan that would watch us. And then we did like Wealthy Theater in Grand Rapids. It's like a 400-seater. And then since then, we're like, let's just do shows. So we did a couple roasts. We do a bunch of sketches. Now they're running shows in Detroit. I am just coat riding right now. I'm just enjoying the Dog Comics name while trying to figure out what's going on in Chicago. It's got weight in Detroit though. Detroit and Grand Rapids, dogs got some weight, but
you know what though? It's like you're spreading the brand to Chicago. You know,
that's a nicer way of saying that I moved separately and they're all continuing it and I'm just here. But
exactly.
Spreading the brand is the way we like to say it.
That's like the cute, like, if I was your manager, that's what I'd be telling you. Like, tell them it's brand awareness.
But, I mean, it's not like we're not friends. Like, they're coming literally next week for the whole week, and we're going to kind of go do mics, maybe look at some spots to run some shows.
What is it, like, did you just think that Chicago would be the way to go for you? Is it something like that?
Yeah, if I was going to move somewhere and have to do the whole... Because there was like a couple options. Either stay in Grand Rapids long enough that you're like a name, and then people will, like, other clubs will go, hey, this guy's good, have him on your club, and that's how you get road work. That seemed like it was going to be 10, 15 years in the future for me, though. So I was like, okay, I could probably get that same thing in Chicago, probably a little quicker than 10, 15 years. And then even in that 10, 15 years, it's fucking Grand Rapids, Michigan. You didn't even know where, you're from Michigan, and you didn't really know where it was on the hand. Like, it's not like it's like, oh, fucking... I think they're making killers out of that scene, but there's just not, the ceiling is so low.
Yep.
So that's why I was like, well, Detroit, it's a higher ceiling, but not as high as Chicago. And if I'm going to have to move somewhere and, hi, I'm Chase, nice to meet you. I've been doing, like if I'm going to do all the fucking hellos, nice to meet yous, I'd rather do it somewhere with a little bit higher of a ceiling instead of do it in Detroit and then in a year or two go, all right, I got to move again. So I was just like, I'll start from the bottom, at least somewhere I got to climb up higher, if that makes sense.
That does make sense, yeah.
I don't know anyone in Detroit. I should have spent my time in Grand Rapids going to Detroit often like Nicole and other people did, but I'm lazy. So I was like, no, I'll just do Grand Rapids comedy and a little Lansing and Kalamazoo. Didn't spread outside of that. So now Chicago, I'm like forcing myself, like, no, just fucking meet people. Like that's what you have to do. It's networking. But I don't like the business side of it. Like I said, I'm just a dumb guy. So I'm like, can I just tell them a little cum jokes and be a silly little goose?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I feel like rap, like rap and comedy, they got a lot of similarities. One
Yeah.
of them is probably that most rappers don't want to be they don't want to be their own managers. They
Yeah.
just want to do the thing.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like any hip hop, like most musicians in general are like
I don't
that.
want to do the business side. That's why
Yeah.
I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing the
Artists.
creatives. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the. That's why it sucks with comedies because you have to you got to message people and send them their headshots and your little clips and be like, hey, these are my. I'm so bad at that. The only time I ever get opportunities is if I'm somewhere being funny and someone has to walk up to me and goes, "Would you like to?" That's how I got on this podcast where I was at a mic and you went, "You should come up." I don't get. It's just I have to be somewhere being a little silly and they're like, "Okay." I don't email anybody. I don't send my clips. I can't, dude. I'm so bad at it. It
I
feels
think
so
though that
unnatural.
I don't know. See, yeah, I feel like someone because people like you exist. There's plenty of you. There's all kinds of us.
Yeah, and most don't make it.
Mo-
Most are baristas.
Yeah, most of them die.
Yeah, they're either baristas or they're really good at comedy and then die.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. But the thing is,
I'm working on
I
my
think these
coffee
people
skills.
just have like social media people. I think like that's the answer.
Yeah.
You just find a social media person that does it for you.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to worry about that shit. That would be my guess.
I've thought about that, but then I was like, but then I would have to supply them with clips still. Then I have to go to an open mic or a show and put up a camera. I'm bad at that. I've had my best sets with a room that I thought was dead, and I've had some of my worst sets with a big room, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be fucking good. Let me record this. That's not to say I haven't done well in front of big people. I feel like I'm downplaying myself, but it's like a lot of the times when I'm like, this is gonna be it. Let me record this. I do weird because I know I'm recording it, and I'm like awkward.
Yeah.
But then there's times that just an open mic with 10 people left and it's midnight. I'm like, fucking whatever. Let's see what I can get out of this. And I'll have my most fun I've had. So even if I were to have someone like post shit, I'm so bad at I don't videotape anything. I just go tell my jokes and then go home and play Xbox 360. I'm so bad. For wanting to do
I
comedy
like
as a
your
living,
lifestyle.
it's sick. It is fun. But for wanting to do comedy as a living, I should take it way more seriously. I know this, but
the Xbox, dude.
Xbox 360. It's fucking so cold in Chicago too. I'm waiting for a bus. I'm like, I could be playing Xbox 360 right now, dude. I could be just home, cozy, playing Dirt 2, just racing motherfuckers. But comedy.
You guys can read about all this on Diary of a Dumb Guy 1.
Literally. We're on our 14th edition. Each page only has one word on it though.
I mean, dude, I can't blame you, okay? I can't blame you. But this GoPro I have right here, that shit, if you those things are like $300, $400.
Yeah.
All you got to do, stick an SD card and battery in it. You just fucking put that thing down and push record. That's all you got to do. You just put it down, you push record, and then you just go do whatever you're going to do. And I think if you make a habit of it, because I've noticed comedians, they record a lot of their own shit anyways.
Yeah. I always audio record it every single time. Yeah.
Really?
Just so I can listen back for myself and if I said something, because I'm not a good writer. I can't sit and go, well, this is funny. But I'm very good at on the spot of hey, that wasn't funny. You better say something funny so you don't not just blabbering to these idiots like an idiot.
Yeah.
So then I will say something on the spot that I'm like, oh, that's a good tag. And then so I have to audio record to go back for that. But it's, like you said, I should get in the habit of just throwing up a fucking camera.
Well, the thing is too, if you get self-conscious about it, because you're like, oh, I'm filming, and then you act different, dude, one day, if there's gonna be a ton of cameras on
Yeah,
you. So,
yeah.
And it won't be your cameras.
Yeah, true.
They have the video. You can't delete it.
And I've had a couple of those where someone just live streamed it, and even then I get weird because I'm like, who's watching this? What are you doing? Where's that going?
Exactly. I like this room right here.
Yeah, I don't.
Who's your Facebook friend?
These guys get it.
Is your mom gonna see this?
Yeah, these fellas in here get it. I don't know what they like.
Yeah, and that's that's a thing that's, I think that's why a lot of comedy gets miscommunicated ultimately, is a lot of it is whatever's in that room.
There's
and
no
that.
genres either.
Yeah.
With music, you don't just go, hey, would you like to go to concert tonight? And you go, yeah, let's just go to concert. No, is it country or is it rap or is it rock? You know who you're going to see.
Yeah.
Or at least you get their name and you Google it and go, okay, it's the kind of music they have. With fucking comedy, it's just usually here's comedy. And a lot of times with showcases, you'll get here's a dry guy that's slow and with witty punchlines that are after long stories. And here's a guy that's really dark, but it has a really twisted sense of humor. Here's a one-liner guy. It's you might have one of them you like, but it's it's so hard with comedy to go, no, this is a show I'm going to. There's alt shows and there's shows with themes, but with true stand-up, there's no way to get you unless you're a fan and you know what their name is and like you know them from podcasts, so you can go seek them out. It's usually just, I hope I like one of these guys. It's a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, I can say I've learned that my mom likes Giannis Papas, but she does not like Matt Rife.
Good. That's all right.
For what that's worth.
Yeah, that's something. At
That's
least.
like it's so, but it's because there's something. I'm okay with both of them. I watch both of them. I can like find. I'm an optimist in life. I just try to look for the good in things.
Yeah.
I can see why people. I could see why people hate on both. Matt Rife gets a lot more hate, but it's just because he's more popular.
Yeah.
My boy Giannis, he would get a lot of hate if he was more popular. All right.
I guess
the
I don't
Greek
know enough
hate would come out
of him. He never. There's certain comedians that's just like there's never really like.
Yeah.
And it's not to say they aren't funny. He's done much better than I have, but it's just nothing when I watch him. Nothing like sparks with me of like, oh, like I'm like, okay. With Giannis, I've never really had anything. I'm like, all right, he just seems like a guy I could know. You know what I mean?
I think I saw him. It's funny. I think I saw him in Lex Friedman's podcast first.
Really?
I think that was actually where I first saw him. And then Lex Friedman said something about history hyenas, and that's how I figured out what history hyenas was. That show's interesting.
Yeah.
It's an acquired taste because it becomes kind of an inside joke thing over time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just different for everybody. That's really what it is, though. Is like there's different genres, and it's different for everybody. Like what somebody like Giannis does is different than what somebody else does that might really communicate to you. And everybody's looking for something else. Comedy is a specific thing too, where everybody does have their own sense of humor. And
exactly.
One person that I find is kind of like a universal. Most people tend to like him is Norm Macdonald. Most of the time you bring up Norm Macdonald, people like Norm Macdonald.
I have a theory on that, though. I think people like to say they like Norm Macdonald, but I don't think people actually sit and listen to a full Norm set.
Oh, see, you might be right.
Because I like Norm, but I will admit, there's a lot of it you're like, nah, he's just kind of saying, not like just saying shit, because it's very well thought out, but it's like, if it's not for you, sometimes he's just drawing on about a thing, and you're like, what does this get to? I like Norm, but I think a lot of people like to say they like Norm, and they don't actually... I think the same with Patrice, though. Everyone's like, oh, I love Patrice. He's fucking been dead like 12 years. We still talk about him. But it's like, how many of you have actually like watched more than just a clip or two? You know what I mean? Oh, you see an elephant in the room. Awesome. Like, I don't know. I have people that are like, no, I fuck with Patrice. And then they're mentioning jokes. I'm like, I've never heard that. That person actually, you know what I mean? Like Matt Rife, I think it's also the same thing of like, oh, fuck him. I don't have an opinion on Matt Rife. I'm glad he made his money. I bet he's not that funny, but I'm glad he made some money. So good for him.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, people, I feel like they just know what people say about that thing.
Exactly. So then they just, like, they'll also say it.
And I'm guilty of that myself. Like, with Patrice, you would catch me on that. If I was that guy, I would literally say it. I'd say, I like Patrice, but then if you ask me specifically, because the only thing I think I've really seen of Patrice would probably be the Opie and Anthony stuff. I've just seen that on YouTube.
But also, how do you not, if you see a little bit of Patrice, how do you not, like, you know what I mean?
And I've heard the legend.
Yeah, I didn't mean to stand on a thing of like, oh, you have to watch all their stuff to be a fan.
No, but you're right, though, that there is a whole lot of that. There's a whole lot of, like, people don't really know. So if it was with Norm, I could see what you're saying. People probably don't actually know Norm
like
as well as...
how dry he was and how, you know what I mean?
Because
like,
I've consumed a lot of it. When I was in middle school, that's when I found, like, Norm Macdonald Live, like, the podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad he did that, because that show is, like, where I found Norm Macdonald in middle school.
Yeah.
And that dude, like, he was like the funniest comic to me in middle school and high school, and he still is. Like, I still think Norm is like one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, and it's
because I saw that,
right? And some people will say that without really, like, they just have that opinion to have that opinion. So then you go, all right, well, because even me, I've been like, well, Norm's so great, and I go to show my girlfriend a bit, and it's like 13 minutes. I'm like, no, you gotta wait though. It gets so good. Like, he gets the cheese, and they get in the van, and it's good. Like, she goes missing, and she's like,
I know he's talking about OJ, but you'll understand.
Literally, it's like, you just give it a second. So, but I don't know. People can be fucking. They can say they like or don't like things. I don't know.
Yeah, because in the end, I mean, with something like that, it doesn't really matter.
No.
Again, like with comedy, it doesn't really matter. Like, again, with rap, like, people like all kinds of rap that I hate.
Yeah, that's why I said earlier. I get angry, and then I go, you shouldn't like that because you don't even. And then I go, I'm a dumb guy. What do I fucking know? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's how I approach everything.
But there's wisdom in that, don't you see? Because by saying that, you're like, oh well, I am a dumb guy. I might not know everything.
True.
So maybe I don't need to have such a strong opinion. I'm a
True.
dumb guy.
I think that's mushrooms has done that for me.
Same here.
Because my roommate my old roommate Niles, part of the Dogs, he would rap. He used to rap as well, and he's still like really big into music and hip hop, and he just knows about shit that's coming out. And something happened. He's like, "Well, ASAP Rocky just dropped an album, and I just took shrooms." And I was like, going to pick on him. I'm like, "You're fucking such a music nerd. You always know. Keep up on the social media. He just dropped." And then like he started playing it, and I just went upstairs to play video games, and the mushrooms hit, and I'm just like, "You can let people like things. You don't got to be so mean all the time. You can just let people enjoy things. If they enjoy their thing, that's their thing." And the mushroom just started fucking with me. And then I just went downstairs. I'm like, "Hey, I'm sorry. You can like music if you like music. I'm sorry." So now I think there's just like a background voice when I go, "That's fucking stupid." And something else goes, "You're stupid too." And I'm like, "Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah." So
From that experience?
I think so, yeah. Because I often will reflect on it when I'm like starting to shit on a thing, and I go, people like things. You can let people like things, man. You don't have to always shit on a thing. But I think it's just, that's like comedian nature, though. It's to analyze and pick at things.
Yeah, that must be, that's a good, that's interesting because I've thought about that, like someone like Mark Norman is interesting.
Yeah.
Because when he goes on podcasts, he makes the choice to always be a comedian.
Yeah.
And like you're always finding the thing and being funny. And he'll even say that, like, if they'll like, say something about like, "Oh, you're making a lot of jokes," he'll be like, "It's a comedy podcast.
Yeah.
It's comedy."
Yep.
He'll say that. But most people don't do that. Most people don't go into it that way. And like, I feel like comedians often like they have that mindset all the time where they're always trying to riff and make it a bit.
Yeah.
And it makes it almost harder to like for them to connect with the other comedians probably because they're never actually talking on a base level.
Never.
They're always trying to like out riff each other.
Yeah. That's also, it makes it impossible to write jokes in that setting too, because like we'll all be talking about something funny. It's almost, at least in Grand Rapids, I haven't made enough friends here to know, but like it was almost an unwritten rule of like if we're joking about something as a group of comedians, no one can take that to stage now. We all pitched in a funny, we all added to the idea. If someone then were to be like, "Hey, you guys remember when we were talking about like jockeys and how it'd be funny and they brought it on stage?" It's like, no, I made a joke about that and he added the punchline. That's your tag is him right there. So there's like an unwritten of like, don't fucking do that. I don't know. I'm stoned. I'm starting to ramble
like
now.
you stole all of it though. Like it's all stolen material.
But it wouldn't be like that. It would just almost be, like I said, from my experience, I haven't been other places. It might get the Steel vibe, but it's when it was us, it's like we were all buddies because there was a small comedy scene, so we knew each other. So it's like if we were all joking, like if me and you were, I don't even know, it feels like we all kind of had a group project just for fun. And then someone's like, "Hey, can I take that to get an A in class?" And it's like, you can, but we all worked on it. But if you want it, go ahead. That's more what it feels like. It's not like they're stealing, but it's just like, hey, we all kind of helped with that, and now it's just yours. But all right.
Okay, so like say we were all talking about like grandmas and wheelchairs rolling downhill and getting injured, and that was like really funny what we all said.
And then it would all be comedians kind of like pitching in jokes here and there and tags, and then if someone went in later was like, "I'll use his tag and his tag." You don't see it often, but every once in a while you see it and you go, "Oh, you shouldn't do that." But it's like I said, it's mostly people that are new and they don't know those weird unwritten rules of being in a close scene like that.
Interesting.
But yeah, so it's more, that's why I like, what the point I was going to make before I fucking rambled is like, so I like talking to normal people because I don't, for a while when I first started doing comedy, they go, "Oh, you're a comedian, you always got to be funny." It's like, no, I'm a dude, I'm a person still. Sometimes I just want to chat with you. Just want to talk.
There's a human inside this shell.
Yeah, exactly. It's like around comedians, we're always having fun, but sometimes like, we can just talk. I don't need to be funny. Like around Norm, it's like, I don't need to be funny for you. I can just chat with you. But that's also where I get a lot of jokes is because they're not trying to out riff like you were saying. They're not trying to like, "Oh, and I'm going to add in a thing." They're just like, "This is a funny thing that happened to me." And me as the sole comedian can go, "Well, here's a funny thing that happened." And then I in my head go, "That's probably a joke now." But as a group of comics, it's like we're all adding funny and we're not even thinking to go, "This could be a joke." We're just having fun and adding it in and riffing. But there is, like you said, there's no like real, like, "Oh, my brother has cancer and I got to go see the family. It's rough right now," like smoking cigs. And you're like, "Oh man," like you see it on, at least my experience, you'd see something like that on Facebook. And then when you see them in person, you go, "You doing all right, buddy?" And they go, "Yeah, I'm doing it." And then you go, "Okay." Anyways, a dog was jerking off. Like there's no, like you said, there's not a lot of real connection.
Yeah. And who knows? Who knows? Because if you're doing comedy, I can understand why you would be in that mindset. I understand why you're like. I imagine if you told a comedian, "My brother has cancer," like they'd probably say, "I'm sorry to hear that." Like,
but that's the thing, is that's the first step never really happens. Comedians never come up like, oh, but you know what I mean? We're also, every comedian's insecure and wants to be funny and supported and well known. You know, we all want what's last. We all want it. We're chasing it. So no one's ever gonna come out and be like, hey man, they're gonna like hold it in, kind of like they do with every other thing, and go, let me make this funny, and you know what I mean? Maybe make a post about it to get it out, like some sort of outlet. Because you can't just bottle that shit up all the time, but you can't just Norm Macdonald and die of cancer secretly. But even though that's a man's way to go.
Dude. When that first came out, I thought that's crazy. But you know, like the more and more I think about it, it makes perfect sense. You know,
it's a Norm's way to go. I don't fucking tell anybody, fuck that.
Yeah, well, because you know, it would have changed his whole legacy too in this strange way.
Yeah,
like, people would remember him differently.
People would have sucked his dick harder, which I don't think he wanted.
Exactly. He didn't want that sympathy thing. You know, it's kind of like what you said about how people feel that way about Norm, but they don't really know him.
Yeah.
That would have been like times 10.
Exactly.
You know, while he's alive.
Yes, exactly. And he got a lot now, but he'd have gotten that when he was alive, and I don't think he wanted. But I don't fucking know the guy, so who knows? I'm taking my best guess. He made a Zoom special and then died, so I don't know anything about him, actually. Never met the guy.
But, I mean, a comedian, it's funny because a comedian would think like, oh, my brother has cancer, like how can I turn this into a bit somehow? Like how could I go on stage and turn this, like that's probably one of the first things that would happen in their brain.
I had a girl I was living with cheat on me, and not even just like cheat on me, but cheat on me in attempts to like get pregnant to start a family with another guy while I'm living with her. And I remember my first thing was like, it wasn't like, well, call your family or call a friend. It was just like, well, this is pretty funny. I just immediately like, I was like, fucking. And I remember having a conversation of like her, like when I finally found out, and her like breaking down, like, I want to have a family, man, and like going and like having this whole heartfelt thing on why she cheated on me and why we won't work and yada yada yada. And I'm sitting there the whole time like, right, it doesn't work, and it'd be funny. My cum doesn't work, just like stuff like that. And she's like, you're so disconnected from this. It's like, this is my coping mechanism. This is. You think any comedian is normal? No, everything. It's like bad things happen to us, and then we either sulk in the bad, or you can go, make a joke about this. And that's where most of us come from. I'm blown away when you have it now a little bit because there's a lot of podcasts and people can be on the internet, but I'm blown away when you're like, talk to a comedian, they're like, no, both my parents are together and they love each other, and I had a normal growing up and all my siblings are happy and fun and we vacation together. And it's like, you don't belong here. This is the misfits. It's
I think it's like, my theory is that it's all of art is generally that. Like most of art comes from like something happens with someone's life and then they have to express. There's like this drive within them to express whatever that the result is of that discord that they had to experience. And everyone experiences it to different extents, I would say. Like some people, they might not seem like they had shit this way, but maybe like somehow they did because they're fucking, you know, like their dad, it was crazy, but nobody knows that their dad was actually schizophrenic. Or like there's all kinds of crazy things that happens to everybody, but that's what makes the best shit. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, just because trauma.
Yes. Like, and you don't understand that. It's like the sad truth of it is you actually need that in some weird way. And like, that's why I have this same thing about me where if a bad thing happens to me, I'm in a part of my mind, I'm like, well, this has got to be good for my art form here. Yes. Like creatively, there's something I'm experiencing here that is very valuable.
Well, I mean, think about it. If you watch a movie, do you want to just see them win and succeed the whole time?
Exactly.
You want to see about the downs and stuff, and like then that's what, in the cheesy form, that's what makes a hero, and that's what makes the plot line go along. But in reality, I think a lot of just comedians, at least from my point of view, that I think a lot of other people share, is they went through shitty stuff and they went, hey, I can be sad or I can make myself happy and try and make others happy as well. Like, I don't know. I love my parents. They're great people. Had me too young. They were trying to figure it out. They didn't even like each other. They still hate each other to this day. Can't be in the same room. But growing up with that, so when shit's tense and not always the most fun, I was always a little like, hey, I'm going to make a joke. I'm going to liven up. And it was like, I think where a lot of comedians come from is just like, let me lighten this situation up a little bit. You guys are talking about financial crisis and divorce and foreclosure, but look at me, I'm a little fat boy. And you just dance a little bit and they go, oh, okay, that's fun. You know what I mean? For a second, they go, all right. I think that's where a lot of comedians at least started from. Getting that moment of just like, okay, even whether it be bullying or a not great house or something, I think a lot of it started, they just wanted a moment of not anger and people just go, fucking okay, you know, that's it. That little brief moment of like, fucking look at this guy. Whatever that may be. But that can be making a generalization. Some comedians are fucking happy and have happy houses and they do well.
Yeah, but I think they're either like rare or they're just generally speaking probably not as committed to the art form, like not as complex.
Yeah.
I would just guess. That's just my guess. There's probably some people who are just happy comedians.
Yeah.
But it's gotta be rare.
And I don't mean to say like comedians can't be happy, but I think you're better if you had a weird upbringing. I don't even need to say bad, but just if it was just oddball upbringing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And people are like, well, comedians don't need to be depressed. It's like, you don't need to be depressed now. Take your pills, figure it out, go to therapy, do all the things to be happy. I believe you should. But your weird little upbringing, that's what planted the seed of funny in you. Yeah, I don't think you have true funny, like I don't know. You'll get hack funny or people are like, my wife and my kids are so, you can get that without a weird upbringing, but like those original individual takes, like a Jordan Jensen, you're like, I don't know if you know her at all. She's like kind of on the rise right now. She's a New York comedian, hilarious. But
yeah, I know.
Such a weird upbringing that it's like you fucking had to be a comedian. You had to talk to people about it. Like it's so out there that it's like without that she would just probably be normal and not. But it's like that weird upbringing. It's like that's what gives you fucking character. That's what makes you someone worth listening to.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of turning the negative into a positive too.
Exactly. I'm not saying you need to have negative, but I'm saying if negative comes about it and you deal with it like that, maybe tell jokes. Maybe try that.
Yeah.
I think that's what, I don't know, that's what makes people tell jokes at least a lot of time. But like I said, some people just like podcasts and they like Jim Norton and not Jim Norton. They like, I'm trying to think, I don't know clean comedians that well. Jim Gaffigan.
Gaffigan, yeah.
Yeah, and they're just like, that was funny.
I don't know clean comedians that well either. Gaffigan's like the one I would know.
Gaffigan, Nate Bargatze's huge. I don't even count him as clean because he's just funny. You don't notice he's clean until afterwards someone goes, hey, he didn't swear. And you go, oh, he didn't. Like, he's not one of the normal clean guys that just talks about boring stuff. He's actually funny. Another guy I opened for who's clean. John Heffron's clean. And he reminds me of another guy. Another 2000s, Brian Regan. Those guys have done very well. And I just can't. Clean, it can get you to more audiences, but it feels like less true comedy audiences, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense, yeah.
Like with rap, you can have a rapper that's not like, almost, Chief Keef's a good example. Chief Keef didn't make music to be put on the radio. But
right.
people like Chief Keef.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. It's like, I'm not, you know what I mean? It's like people, you can make shit for the radio and people will go, oh, I like that. That's clean comedy to me. It's like a little pop song. But then you get the real shit when it's like, no, swear and tell me about your weird past and problems. And like, that's when you get people with like music that they're making for themselves. I'm trying to put it in music to comedy.
No, yeah.
It's like euros to dollars. It mostly equates, but I get lost sometimes.
It's kind of like it's more like commercially appropriate.
Yes. See, smart guys have words for that.
Smart guy. I like how he keeps calling me smart.
You know?
You know, like I like this dynamic. I get to call you dumb. You get to call me
that's
smart.
That's what you got to do to have a good podcast. Find your dumbest friend and be like, you want to come say some dumb shit? Yeah.
I feel like I say dumb shit, but like the fact that you're calling me smart is elevating my dumb shit that I say. Like I could say something really stupid right now, and maybe because of this dynamic,
maybe.
Like if I were to say start start misinforming you, right? I would say something like, "Hey man, like I know you're dumb, but did you know that you could actually fill up a bike tire with water and it rides better?"
Two things. One, maybe you're just a dumb in disguise. Two, I fully believe you. I believe that you'd be like, yeah, it makes sense. Probably rides harder, and you don't lose air. You can just get water places. I would fully believe you.
It's cheaper.
Yeah. See, that's what you got to be worried is the dumbs in disguise. The people that are like, maybe I'm smart, and they're actually not. You'll get a couple of those.
That's like where the brilliance is when the dumb in disguise.
That's
that's Norm Macdonald right there.
He was the opposite. He was like a disguised as dumb, but was, I think, super witty because to have that kind of funny, you got to know what you're doing. Like, it works on accident a little bit, but to continue his career being that specific funny, it's like, oh, you know what you're doing. Like,
yeah, he's too smart to be dumb.
Just exactly. It's like, you know what you're doing. Like, this story has been told on so many podcasts because it's not even my story, but I've just heard it on podcasts. But it's just the story of like Chris Farley is trying to get him off drugs and yada yada. Goes into the bathroom with Andy Dick, known bisexual man, and also does a lot of drugs. And they went into the bathroom together, and they like went up to Norm. They're like, "Hey, I just lost Farley. You went in the bathroom with Andy Dick," and he just pauses and he goes, "Wow, I really hope he's blowing him," because they're trying to keep him off drugs. But just even in that moment, is just like quick with it. He's too smart, I think, to like he knows how to play into that role. Yeah, Norm was fucking good.
Yeah, and I think he was always on like that too. Like in the same way, I think that's kind of why Mark Normand is like that, because people like Norm were always on.
Yeah.
And that's like when you think of like the greats like that, they do manage to ride that line somehow.
Always be funny.
Yeah, and always
I haven't brought any funny to this. I apologize.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to like start to do that.
Do a joke or something.
I was gonna have you like stand up and dance here in a couple minutes.
Diddle the cat. Is that something? I don't know.
I mean, it's you can. I mean, we'll figure it out. If you could do something with these pillows, maybe.
Yeah,
there's birds on them. You got anything? Say something funny about that bird on that pillow. You can do it.
I don't like this. The little you can do it. I'm like, fuck. I feel like I'm in T-ball right now. No, go ahead. It's not hard. All the other assholes did it. You do it now. And I'm like, oh, fine. Fat idiot. I don't know how to fucking hit a baseball.
Hey man, you could knock it out the park.
Literally.
I don't know what if I had to do it.
I don't have any bird related humor.
Man, how do you guys feel about beaks, huh? If I had a beak, I know what I'd be doing. Eating worms. See, and like there was a lot of laughter just now.
Yeah, there was. You guys kind of didn't pick it up because we only got 2 mics, but it did. It was a good pop. It did well.
The studio audience behind the microphones here, it did pretty well. It did pretty well. The dog in the other room, he's giggling,
dying. Yeah, that's why I like now hanging with my friends. But when I first started comedy, hanging out with normal people that don't do comedy, they're always like, "We're a comedian. Do something funny." And I'm like, we're at Buffalo Wild Wings, man. I'm just trying to fucking eat these cheese.
Really? That's why I said it, because it's such a cliche thing to say. Dude, it really is.
The amount of times I've gotten like, tell me a joke. Tell me oh man,
it's a dance monkey dance scenario.
Literally. And I also, the problem is, if I was like a comedian that had like short, I would just do it because I'm a people pleaser. But all my funniest jokes are like a minute and a half, and you're not gonna sit there with me for that time. So I'm always just like, I always get on this weird soapbox of like, no, I'm not gonna just stand here and perform for you. You're gonna pay money for that. Like, I gotta pretend that I have morals, which always sucks. But it's like I don't have anything quick enough that's funny. It's like you're gonna have to listen to me for a while, and then by that time you're like checking out. You're like, I don't know. I think he was talking about wanting to see guys come in sports. I'm like, no, kind of, but no. So it's just.
I said a whole lot more than that.
Yeah, I was like, there was more complexities to it.
It's about more than that. I know I said that thing about dudes coming, but that was just a small piece of the puzzle.
Literally, yeah. I was like, I know I said I'm gonna make my friends come, but that's only the setup. You didn't listen to the end.
That's what you got from that. Yeah. You almost can't blame them, though. You almost can't blame them. I think like comedy, a lot of it is about set and setting, and that's kind of the problem there, because you can't really just do like a 1.5 minute, 2 minute joke like in a natural setting.
No,
it's meant to be told in a certain scenario.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I don't have. So when people are like, do it, I'm like, I can't. I'm sorry. I just pee myself and walk away. I'm like, I'm not. I guess I'm not funny. I don't know. Greg said I'm not gonna make it at this wedding, so I guess I'll never see Netflix.
Yeah. I heard a rapper say once like that if you like were to ask him to rap in public, like that's like not cool. And it's kind of like I just thought about it. It made me really think about it. Like, because in my mind, you should be able to just rap wherever. You should just be able to, like, if someone says, oh, you're a rapper, then rap. You should just be able to rap. But I guess I can see kind of what he means.
You should, but you shouldn't have to.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Because if someone is like, just be funny, it's like I can knowingly be like, all right, we'll look for more, like I can try and be sillier.
Yeah.
But it's like more of the thing, it's like, I'm just being me right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't want to have to stop and go, I'll be rapping and trapping. It's like, you want to just chat with me? I'm a guy, I'm a fella still. I rap, but I still am a fella.
I'd be rapping and trapping.
Yeah, I got bars just in case.
Bars, dude.
Keep them locked up the sleeve, dude. You never know.
I like to make it so what I do is I distract the people with my conversational abilities, so you never even know that the rap bars are about to pop out and blow your mind.
Dr. Seuss it.
Yeah, you trick them. That's kind of the trick. I think that would be. I don't know if it would work in comedy. I don't know if it'd work the same way if you'd be able to get through to the if you were a comic, because this is what I'm saying. You don't even do the rap thing at all for a long time. Just if you were in comedy and you were trying to get through to the comedians and not just riff all the time, maybe you just never riff and you just talk to them normal. Maybe eventually it would work. And then
it will.
And then out of nowhere they're like, "Oh, you're also a comic." "Oh, you're also a rapper." Maybe you just got to somehow be a normal dude long enough.
That's how I got with just friends. It's I was just I wasn't putting on airs. It's I'm not going to sit here and
Yeah.
But at the same time, I need them to know I will do that just out of my own fun and just because that's who I am. I will do random, we could be out in public and I'll grab something and go, "Oh, it looks like my penis." And they'll go, "What?" I can't have them go "What the fuck is he doing?" They at least know all right, he's going to do his silly little bits, but they don't expect me to be full of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have friends in my hometown that they make me almost feel like celebrity because the way they're "Nah, you did the theater and you got stuff online. This is my comedian friend. He's funny." So for them, I almost if I'm in a PlayStation party, I'm trying to riff. I'm "Dude, fucking this guy looks like his mom." For them, I'm trying to play it up a little bit, but that's just because they're not doing it as "Hey, fucking do it, comedian." They're "No, this guy, just wait until you see what he does. He's a comedian. He'll be funny. Just wait. Give him a minute. Look at him. Don't pressure him. Give him a second." Then I'm "I'm fucking try something." But when it's "No, fucking be funny right now." Plus, Brad Wenzel, he's a comedian from Michigan. He's done very well. He's done Conan a bunch of times. He always had a line that I liked. And it's I can't make you laugh. I can say something and you can laugh if you want, but I can't make you laugh. That's not jokes. That's tickling. And I'm that's so true. I can't, if someone's looking at me go, be funny. I'm not going to make you laugh. I'm not going to go, ooh, and force you to laugh. It's if you want to laugh at it kind of deal.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I never liked so even as you as rapping, I would never ever fucking spit some bars right now. I bet you do though. I bet you do. Now that I'm thinking about it, rap is fucking cooler than comedy. So you're I got some fucking shit for
get excited, yeah.
Yeah, because you can be my dick big and I fuck girls, but with comedy I'm and my dick sucks and I make my friends come. They're what the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know. Would you be able to make it work if you're if I went on a comedy stage, I'm all right, nice to meet you guys. My name is Ruse. I'm also a rapper, so that means my dick is huge.
Yep.
And I fuck bitches.
Yep. Let them know off start.
I feel if I said it just like that, I would get through. I think I can translate that to comedy, right?
Probably.
That energy.
The problem is comedy and rap, or comedy and rap specifically, but comedy and music are so similar, but comedy and rap, they're big differences. Comedy, you're supposed to be the loser. You're supposed to be and I suck, and I came quick, and the girl didn't date me, because no one wants to hear you joke about and then I fucked 3 girls, and then I did. No one wants to laugh at that.
No one wants
But with rap, you're going to and then I fucked 3 girls and then came on her face. You're like that shit. You so that's the one difference is with rap. You can be I'm the fucking man. And with stand up, if you're the man, you got to be doing it so sarcastically. Yeah, 3 chicks didn't hit me up and then I jerked off and fell asleep in my own tears. I'm the fucking dude. I'm that guy. That's the only time it really works. Or if you're being the man, but people can so clearly see you're dorky or disabled or whatever it would be to prevent you from technically being so cool. But no one wants to see someone go up and be I have a big dick and I fuck women. And they're oh, that's funny, I guess. I don't like that actually. But rap, you can be the fucking man, which is nice.
Margot's trying to steal your
steal my nicotine?
Yeah, she's into that kind of thing.
You want one?
Well, I mean, if you give it to her, it's got to be only on the Patreon, folks.
Some hot content right there.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. You gotta if you're the man, you have to do it in an in-joke kind of way.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're just having fun here.
If not, you're just watching a guy brag for a while. No one wants to do that. That's not funny.
Yeah, you can't do that.
But if you throw a beat to it, that's fun because then you can also listen to it and relate to it and oh, and I did. But
I wonder, if there's a way, it's really making me think, if there's a way that you could go up there, and maybe if you made it a character, and you just got so
Andrew
into
Dice
it.
Clay.
Yeah. Yes.
Those character.
Right.
But look what happens when you try and do it sincerely. Matt Rife.
Yeah.
I don't even know his comedy, but I know a lot of it is he apparently thinks he's hot shit and does a lot of crowd work and like, you're a fucking idiot. And it's like, yeah, that works, but it's also because you look like a hot Ellen DeGeneres. That works because you're hot. It's hot people are allowed to do so much more. If you're just attractive, they're like, no, you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Imagine like Louis C.K. doing only crowd work.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't work.
And it was all like him being like,
You'd be like, who's this fucking asshole fat guy on stage?
he's
making
like, you're a
fun
dumb fat slob. You whores probably came to fuck me. It's like, no.
What is it? Stavros Halkias?
Yeah.
Imagine him doing that.
That's what I'm saying. If he
same-
made the flip, if he just made he does a lot of crowd work, but his is mainly just he's trying to look for like the people that have weird stories, and then he can ask questions on that. He's not just like, look at these fucking sluts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at these two white bitches up in front.
Yeah, but Matt Rife can do that. 'Cause like, we love you. Oh.
Yeah. Fuck me.
Yeah. So like I said, I haven't seen any of his comedy, but
Matt Rife is an interesting character just because of like the way he was skyrocketed into fame. Like that's why it's funny to me. Like his audience must be out of his control at this point.
Yeah.
Like he just became this thing that that's why he kind of had that trajectory where he kind of doubled down on that whole like anti-woke thing and like played into it because like in his mind he's probably thinking, I don't even want all these fucking people who are showing up to this party. Like I might as well scare some of them away.
I think so a little bit, and it's because like I said earlier, like when it's a pop song, like they're not comedy fans, they're just fans of funny.
Yep, exactly.
Like they're not. It's just like when you put on the radio and you go, I don't like rap, boo, but this new little song on the radio, it's like you just like what's big and popular, and
not
there's
only
a reason
that,
it's big, but like you're not a comedy fan, you're a fan of,
and they
what
don't
you thought you
know
liked.
how comedy works.
Yeah,
like they don't even know. So like they're a fan of what they think that funny is, but they think they're supposed to participate in it and start shouting at them because that's what they saw. And that's what really fucks it up.
That's what ruins crowd work clips have ruined comedy because everyone thinks they're like it was a thing in the 80s, and I know that because my uncles, anytime they come to my comedy shows, they go, well, heck, I'll help you. And I go, that's not fucking helping. I have everything pre-thought of and written out, not like fully written out, but it's like, I know what these jokes are. Don't interrupt me, asshole. They're like, no, it's going to help. You can say something funny off it. And it's like, I don't do that. I don't have anything funny planned. I'm going to say my funny shit I wrote and worked hard on. I don't, not on the spot, think of something for you because I might not. But now with crowd work clips coming back, people are like, oh, I'm helping. He'll get a nice clip out of it. And it's like, no, don't talk to me ever. Shut up. Just don't say things.
Yep.
Plus my crowd work, it's either dumb and I'm like, what are you doing later? Or I get so mean because you're interrupting me and I only get so few minutes up here on the stage and you're going to interrupt me right now? You paid money to be here and you're going to interrupt me right now, you dumb whore.
Your crowd work clips are you just threatening the audience?
That. Yeah, exactly.
I have a knife.
The only thing I found to work is when it's a woman, because it's always an attractive-ish white woman.
Yeah.
And you go, what is that, a white woman? You go, beautiful white woman. You got to call them beautiful, so then they listen. You go, beautiful white woman. The whole world gives you all their attention all the time. Give me a few minutes. That's all I'm asking. It's the only time I've gotten a woman to shut up, is you call her nice. You go, oh, you're so pretty. Everyone wants to look at you. May I have a few minutes, ma'am? And they go, oh, okay, I'll shut up now. You just got to like... But past that, I have not figured out how to shut anybody up other than being crazy mean. I'm not good at like, and this guy's an idiot. And like, Big J will talk about like, you're the smart one, you're the funny one. Walk them into feeling dumb. And it's like, I don't do that. I do the opposite. I walk out on the ledge to make myself look like an idiot, and then say something mean that the whole crowd's like, oh Jesus, why'd he say that?
How would you walk like? So it's like a big bald guy.
I wish I knew.
You're like, you can't say, hey, beautiful bald guy.
Nope.
You can't say that. You're looking at him, you're like, hey, egghead.
It's more of like, you kind of ask, what he said from what I've heard is like, you ask, since they want to talk, you ask them questions.
That
And
makes
then
sense.
Ask leading questions to show they're the idiot, so that by the time you get to be mean, everyone's on your side with you being mean. Plus, you've given them enough chances to talk and stop talking, that when they start to talk again and they've proved they're an idiot, the whole crowd's like, yeah, fucking berate this guy.
That makes sense.
I don't have that. I just go to the last step. I go to step one, I'm like, they talk, and the last step, they go, you shut up, you fucking dumb, bald idiot. Go home and smoke cigarettes inside and hit your wife. People are like, oh, Jesus. He probably does. I don't know. But if I'd asked 4 questions about his life, and I'd be like, yeah, I don't know. And then people would be like, oh, this guy's kind of an idiot. So then when I say something to make fun of him, they'd go, yeah, he's making fun of the loud idiot. But I don't I have that skill. It's like knowing what it is, but not knowing how to do. It's like backflipping. Can you backflip?
No.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know how to fucking do it though.
Yeah.
That's how like good crowd work feels to me. It's like I see what you're doing. I can't do it myself.
Okay, that makes sense. It can't be that bad because like now that you mention what it is, I've seen it being done. Now that you say that, I know what it is.
Yeah.
Because like and I've noticed that like, so once I saw a comedian and I was watching them up. It was actually Giannis Pappas in Detroit. That was where it was. I went there with my mom. So we were there, and I remember there was a guy behind, kind of like back to the right. It wasn't like it was a small kind of room. And the guy wasn't even like interrupting. I think he must have been, I didn't even really notice him, but he must have been like talking amongst his friends, like kind of like being just a little bit like annoying.
That's the biggest. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but that's also a thing is like when they're just quiet enough that the comedian hears it, and it's fucking with me, but no one else hears it. So now when I pick on them, people are like, what? I didn't even notice it. But
and that must have been what happened, right? Because like I remembered that's exactly what Giannis did is exactly what you just said. He kind of like started to talk to him like, oh, hey, like, how you doing? Like, who are you here with tonight? Like, what's going, like, oh, you guys are having a good time? Like, you have a couple drinks, you know, just kind of making him out, like letting him
make a fool of himself.
Exactly. Yeah. And then after he asks all those questions, he says, hey, well, if you could, like, you know, I'm kind of doing all this stuff up here. If you could just kindly not talk.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then people are like, be on your side for it.
But I didn't even know that's what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Now that you say that, now I know. He was actually using the strategy.
Yeah. I literally just walked myself through how to do it. And I'm like, but I don't know how to do it. I don't.
But you know what? It just takes a couple reps, though.
Literally.
You just have to do it a couple times.
Yeah. And then.
Because I bet you, like, people probably have different methods, even. Like, once you do that, you can probably figure out other ways. Like, to really, a seasoned vet would probably have, like, a million ways to get out of that one.
Yeah, and they have, like, pre-prepped lines. They know if they go, well, I had a few. They have stuff they can have. I had one time, I got lucky as shit. I had a woman yelling at me during my stand-up set, like one of my first paid shows. A big packed biker bar, too. So I'm trying not to shit talk them at all. But so I have a woman yelling the whole time. And at one point, I just go, what are you, so drunk you're speaking in cursive? Crushed. And it killed her confidence. She didn't want to say a fucking word the rest of the time. And they all knew, like, oh, he just handled that funny. So they had the trust in me to, like, continue to be funny. I wasn't that funny yet, but I got lucky with a one line against a drunk chick. But, like, seasoned pros, like you were saying, they have those, like, in the belt ready, like, oh, I can say that. I don't got any of those. So I would ask those leading questions and be like, I don't even know where I'm fucking leading them to.
Yeah.
Because I've done that. I ask them a few questions and I go, all right, well, this has gone nowhere. And that gets a laugh. But I'm like, I can't do that every time. Just go nowhere with it and go, okay, we all gained nothing.
Yeah.
Next joke.
Yeah. It's a hard one because the problem is that people kind of expect it. Like you said with the crowd work clip thing. That's what's kind of frustrating about all of it. And like the problem with the crowd work clip thing is really the only reason that got so big is because it's content comedians can give away.
Yeah.
So like
literally
video content's big now, and that kind of dictated what comedians were going to do because, oh, we can not give away our jokes.
Yeah.
We can give away this shit we just make up, and there's always going to be new shit because every show's different.
Exactly. And it's not like you're ever going to use a piece of crowd work again. It's not like I'm going to, oh, some guy in Philly one time. You're not going to do that. It happened, and it was funny. That's what I like, those. I like when shit, like random happens. Not even, that's the ones I'm okay with. Like, not even people that heckling, but, like, someone starts to get mad and, like, has to get escorted to leave, or someone has a seizure, and then they figure it out, and he's okay, but then they start riffing out. Like, I'm fine with that. I just don't like the intentional, like, hey, I want to say things now. I'll go, all right, buddy, where do you work? Who fucking cares? You didn't pay money to come here and watch me ask that guy what he does for work. You didn't pay $25 of tickets to come here and watch me, the professional, go, we got any birthdays? Like, who gives a fuck? Say something funny. I'm very against crowd work, though.
I wish it weren't such a big thing.
Exactly.
When did that really happen? I must have been like within the last 5 years.
Yeah, within the last couple of people just started posting them a lot more, and then they've just gotten really big within the last couple of years.
It's crazy because it didn't even used to exist at all.
No.
Like, it used to just be a thing that was frowned upon.
In COVID, I posted a couple audio, like it was just like, it was technically a video, but it was just a picture of me with an audio recording of my set. And I remember thinking, like, fucking look at me posting jokes. People are, you know what I mean? And that was 2020. And now it's like a fully edited clip with captions that are colorful and coming out. Like, it happened fast. People are like, no, I like that. I want more of it.
Yeah.
But I don't fucking manage the social media. That shit's so hard.
Yeah.
And the damn algorithm.
Comedy social media seems to like it's interesting because like the comedian like social media sphere seems to really have become podcasts and the stuff surrounding that. Like even revenue stream.
Yeah.
It seems like that's where a lot of comedians make money now.
Make their most of their money, from sponsors on their
Patreons.
pods and Patreons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sponsors and Patreons, which is crazy. Because
Yeah.
that was not like I'm actually trying to follow them. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to convert it to rap at the same time.
Might as well. I think people appreciate insider looks at things, and that's why podcasts got so big.
I agree with you 100%. See, the reason I ever listen to podcasts is because I just like hearing how people talk and how people think about things. And I thought like if you approach a podcast correctly, you just treat it like a normal conversation. That's where you get the best stuff. You get like a genuine look at people.
Yeah, not so interviewy or game showy or.
Yeah, and like I used to do. The first thing I ever really did was interviews. Like a while ago, I just kind of fell into it. Whenever I would interview people, I would show up, but I would treat it like a normal thing. I wouldn't like show up and be all like, business etiquette, whatever the fuck.
Next question. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hello, nice to meet you.
Yeah, no.
You don't want to do that. You just want to act normal. You want to be like, give them a hang almost. Like just kind of hang out with them and chill with them. And you get a really good interview that way. And that's the podcast I like. Same shit. It's like when people are just hanging out. And I think it gives you like a genuine look at people that you wouldn't get from anything else.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist anywhere else.
I got so philosophical about comedy on this whole episode. I gave you basically all my views on like crowd work and talking with friends. Like I was expecting to come on here and just make fart jokes for most of this. I was going to talk about farts. I was going to talk about jerking off a little bit. I was going to maybe talk about riding the bus. And that was about it. And then later I'm like, no, the way comedy works actually. And sucking my own dick.
Yeah, dude. That's what we do on Ruse Radio. We make dumb people look smart.
I guess so. It has worked so far.
I don't know how we do it. I'm trying to get Long Neck on the show.
Oh,
Can you imagine if I could like pull some gold out of Long Neck? I really want to.
He seems like with the proper donation to like a cameo, he would come on here.
We're from the same place. I'll be like, Long Neck, I'm from Flint.
He's also from Flint?
He's from Flint.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
I'll be like, listen, we're Flint alumni.
That's why he's got that neck. That makes sense.
With the water. It turned him into, gave him a metamorphosis.
Literally. He's one step away from a Ninja Turtle. That's pretty sick, actually.
All he needs is a shell.
Dude, literally. That shell and learn some kung fu, dude. Learn a little bit of karate.
See, that's what I would have to tell him is stuff like that. Encourage him. I'd be like, listen, you're one step away from a Ninja Turtle. I think you're a really strong guy. I love when I see the ladies lick your neck. I'm subscribed to the OnlyFans.
I think all of that would work other than my line. Because the problem is I say a line that I think is funny. And then when you say it to someone out of context, you're like, yo, what the fuck, man? You're like, no. I said you look like a less fat Halle Berry. And they're like, why do you... Not Halle Berry, but you know what I mean. I just will say something that so out of context, you're like, that hurt my feelings. Ow.
Yeah.
Like, no, I meant it nice.
Yeah. It works better in person. You can't type those things out.
Yeah, and you're like, no, if John Stamos got a little chubby. John Stamos is cute. And they're like, but you said chubby. I'm like, but you're chubby. What do you mean?
Yeah, you're like...
I also said you look like John Stamos.
Chubby's not bad.
They don't
Chubby's
hear
not
that part,
inherently
though.
bad.
They
Yeah.
don't hear John Stamos. They just hear chubby.
Yeah. You know what? That one... People aren't optimists, man.
No. I mean, I got called a fat Paul Walker growing up for so long. I'm like, I don't even have fucking blue eyes. So
Paul Walker?
Fat Paul Walker, yeah.
I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's with the longer curly hair, it's not as prevalent now, but
yeah, you know what? Now that you say that, so if you had like a short
it's usually
haircut,
growing up, it was short, and it would be short, and I was outside all the time. It would like dye blonde, and I'd be so tan. Yeah, I just looked like fat Paul Walker as a child.
You know who I think I really look like is when I look at Frankie Muniz. It trips me out a little bit.
I could see that.
Like it's actually like people might not agree, but I swear to God, like when I see his face,
I can see that.
it scares me.
Frankie Muniz like Mountain Dew instead of breast milk, I think it'd be, you guys would equate.
Yes.
That's my throwaway line, though. Anytime I see someone that looks like someone else, I go, oh, they were just raised on Mountain Dew version.
You know what? I connected with that a lot because I used to drink a lot of Mountain
Try
Dew.
that one. Oh, see? And it's usually right.
You were correct on that one.
Next time you see somebody, you go, what is that Pete Davidson on raised on Mountain Dew? Never mind. Pete Davidson was also raised on Mountain Dew, so I don't think there's a version.
Yeah, well, that would be extreme.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's a version of that's just every guy that does crack.
Pete Davidson on Mountain Dew is Steve Buscemi.
Oh, man, that's almost. I like Steve more. He's got some fucking acting stuff to him at least.
Yeah.
But I seen that. I seen Steve Buscemi and Pete Davidson. I called that a lot. I'm like, no, people think Steve Buscemi was hot before. I'm like, no, he's a creepy. And I go, sure, but
Can you imagine if Pete Davidson turned into Steve Buscemi over time?
he might.
That would be great. What a plot twist that would be.
he's
If Matt
removed-
Rife turns into Steve Buscemi.
Oh my god, Matt Rife is going to go full Ellen. I believe it. He's going to have a show where they like, and now it's the dance time. He
Yeah.
like dances with these little fat, overaged women. They're just like mid-60s. Oh, overage, overweight. Yeah, I'm fucking trying to riff. Literally.
Both. Just like
It's just
old
women,
60-year-old women.
Just women that have lost their kids to college and they're just dancing with Matt Rife now.
I would watch that.
Good morning, America. It's me, Matt Rife. Yeah, I could see it.
And you know what? I
I'd
actually
pitch it to him. So
I think he would do it.
Yeah, I'm
I
waiting.
think if you offered him enough money, and like I mean this, Matt, I want you on the podcast. We'll talk about this, okay? I'll pitch it to you personally right here.
taking my idea. I mean, I've already pitched Matt like 3 times. We're waiting to hear back from his people.
So we'll get all three of us together. All right, you'll sit over there. And like you'll be like my manager. I will tell him you're my manager. So that'll like make it more official.
There we go.
Okay, and then like we'll be like, hey Matt, listen, we've thought about this a lot. We think you could be the next Ellen DeGeneres. I don't have the money personally, but I'm willing to line the things up.
I'm willing to bet you do.
you could find
Invest all your money in the show we thought of.
And then we're talking like I think it'd be like $2 million per episode probably. But we want it to be like you're Ellen, you dance with old white women, but you can have young white women, but you got to dance with the old white women.
Yeah, you don't dance with the young ones. You think the old ones, give them, they want to think they have a chance, and those are your ticket buyers, Matt. Come on now, daddy. Let's go. Like, play to your audience, kid.
Yes. And then, what else would he do on this show? He'd probably talk like current events. He would have guests on for sure. Like imagine like Matt Rife and Snoop Dogg. But like Matt Rife would have to have the full transition. He'd have to dye his hair to make it fully correct. He'd have to
I think
dye
he
his
just
hair
did
blonde.
recently. I seen a picture of him with a comedian that opened for him.
Really?
Yeah, he had blonde hair.
Oh, so he is becoming
That's what I'm saying.
Ellen.
I've pitched this idea. I think he knows. But his one weird statement with the whole thing is he just wanted to sacrifice a virgin on every episode. I don't know if I could.
I mean, well, you have to make some exceptions.
That's what I'm saying. I just didn't know logistically if we could swing that. But
Well, Patreon, dude.
that's what I'm saying. If you got enough money like Matt too, you can get some virgins lined up. I've got like 4. But I'm hoping, put casting calls out. We'll see what happens.
I mean, really, it's just about how much pull you have, right? Because once you have enough
Matt's got some pull. He's finding some virgins, dude. Come on now.
You imagine like Matt Rife calling out to all the virgins in his audience, he probably would get a few. If you were Matt Rife, you could sacrifice virgins.
Yeah.
If you really wanted
He's going to start. He's going to start doing that, and he's going to drink their blood a little bit, and that's how he stays so youthful.
Yeah.
But once he gets on his Ellen show, he's going to go, this is the reason you guys didn't like Ellen. I'm going to just put it all out. I'm going to air it all out, all the dirty laundry. I'm going to dance with you. I'm going to eat a little baby blood, and then I'm going to dance some more. And they go, I was mad at the baby blood, but he finished with dancing. I like dancing. So,
Yeah. And they would get a lot of the casuals that way.
yep.
They would get them. They would like be like, and that's how they get you, dude. That's how they get you used to the baby blood. Is like
Dude.
they let you see it. They let Matt Rife eat it on live television.
It's like the cold part of a Hot Pocket. Like, yeah, you didn't enjoy that, but you ate the whole Hot Pocket. You didn't stop eating. It got cold, and you go, oh, no, Hot Pocket. No, you ate through or around the cold part.
Yeah.
That's what sacrificing babies is for Matt Rife, dude. I've been telling people. I've got a hit. I've got lightning in a bottle here, and no one wants to open it up.
I think you just need to talk to the right people, dude.
Yeah.
I don't think you've met the right people to present this idea to. Like, I think if
did.
you said it to Matt Rife's manager, you might have a better reaction.
I did. I was supposed to have a meeting set up, but then I went home and got stoned and played Xbox 360.
See, that's your problem.
That's
your
the
problem,
underlying
man.
issue.
You really need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Because if you
One
did,
day.
you would probably be able to achieve greatness.
The way people, like, their family members want them, like, they have, like, interventions and they write them letters like, we want you to be off heroin. That's my family. Like, please stop smoking weed and playing Xbox, please. Go do something. I'm like, fucking no, dude. That might be a thing later. I might write that down. That might be funny.
I mean, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So we all have our different paths in life.
That's what I'm saying. Some people like heroin. I like Xbox.
Uh-huh. Maybe that's what makes you good. Maybe you need the Xbox.
If I took it away, I don't think I'd have the same essence. I don't think I'd have the same aura.
Yeah, it'd be like if you took Flamin' Hot Cheetos away from like a 13-year-old.
Or my friend Nicole, that's her diet. It's Flaming Hot Cheetos and Red Bull, and she's one of the most. She works she's somewhere always working comedy, and I'm like, should I fucking eat more hot Cheetos?
Exactly. Like maybe that's really working out.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Sometimes you just find your thing. Mine is getting stoned and playing Xbox.
Yeah.
That is an open challenge, though. If anyone wants to play NBA 2K, I'll fucking whoop your ass, dude. Any year. Doesn't matter. Other games I'm not as confident in. We can play them together as friends. But NBA 2K? Don't come at me, dog. I'll beat anybody on this podcast.
Anybody
that listens, dude.
If you drop your, well, how would they contact you? How are they gonna?
Instagram, YouTube, at I'm Chase Richard, dude. Find me. We will play 2K against each other.
That's an open challenge.
Open challenge. That's
if you're watching this podcast like 10 years
doesn't
from
expire.
now,
No.
yeah,
Does not expire.
Doesn't expire.
If Netflix picks me up eventually, you can still message me like, "Y'all fucking beat your ass at 2K," and you'll have a message in a half hour like, "Fuck, run it, pussy." Like,
yeah,
I don't lose in 2K.
I'm proud of that confidence, man. I think that's inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've lost like 3 times ever playing with people.
You're more confident in 2K than comedy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I can stand behind that, but then comedy, I'm like, I don't know, you like my little silly dick jokes? But
2K, it's like, I will fucking kill you.
well, because the difference to me is like, I'm either, with those two things, I'm either standing behind my silly dick jokes or I'm standing behind Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm going with Giannis. I believe in Giannis more than me, dude. That's
true. That's true. You get to be the greats. 2K, see, how long have you been playing 2K for? A long time? You got a lot of years on your belt?
like 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah, since I bought the Xbox 360, I had a nostalgia buy, and I bought my first 2K I ever bought. It was 2K13.
Nice.
So I've been running it for a while now. We're on like what, 2K25? Yeah, like 12 years now.
Holy shit.
You want the fucking smoke, dude? You know where to find me. Hit the IG.
He will demolish you people. You think you got a chance, you got nothing against this guy.
Fucking 12-year veteran, dude. That's the only thing I've been doing for a decade.
Yeah. I mean,
I wasn't even coming yet, dude. I've been playing 2K longer than that. Come on now.
so you said you used to do a podcast or something like that?
Yeah, me and I don't think we ever released any. We shot maybe fucking 10.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it would just be us, just comedians in the house, because we all live together, and we're like, fuck it, let's do a pod. We had the equipment, but then no one wanted to edit it, ever. And plus, with us being roommates, like, we're very comfortable with each other. Sometimes we say things we shouldn't. We would start talking shit about somebody, or we would just do something, we're like, that's just for the house. That's not for everybody. Like, it's tough when you're very close with people you're recording, because you're close with them. You just talk and say things. And then an hour later, because we'll do it at night too, and we'll drink beers, and then like an hour or two later, we're like, oh, fuck, we can't say any of that out in public. We can't release that. And then the ones that were releasable, we were just too lazy to edit. So we did a lot of practice podcasting.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
That's actually a great way to look at it, because you kind of do need the practice. That's why I would say, like, anybody who's going to do a podcast, like, just start now. Like, don't wait and like idealize it and keep thinking about it. Just do it, because it's going to suck at first, probably. Yeah. It's hard to be good at it.
Yeah. Start talking. Start figuring it out. Start talking. The biggest thing is I would always try and at least halfway through what I'm saying, I notice it a lot on this one because I would just ramble. But it's like, would I fucking listen what the fuck I'm talking about right now? So that's the biggest... just in my head whenever it's just like, would you listen to the bullshit you're talking about right now? Mostly no.
I think though, like, I don't know. It's all about the intent, right? Because like, it's different approaches. Like, I like the podcast where it's just chilling and talking.
Yeah.
So I can I can go at it that way. But I'm guessing like every it's like any comedy room is different. Every podcast is different. Some podcasts would want you to kind of be on and like you kind of have to do it. I don't know. I try to set the stage. I try to set the bar low. Sometimes I'll ask people as stupid as shit on this show.
Yeah.
And like I think there's some magic in that.
Yeah.
So
literally. Just sometimes it's just riffing it, like, because that's what we did. We would just go and riff about dumb shit, or we would do. The problem is when it's 3 comedians and we're all close with each other and we would all get drunk. Then we start doing jokes you're not allowed to do. A couple accents come out. A couple of hot topic issues that you take a side on that you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
CEO murders and such. That wasn't out then, but like stuff like that where you just get drunk and you're trying to be an asshole and you go, I think you should have shot fucking 3 CEOs, dude. And you just start being a dick and it's like, you can't put that out because they don't know that we're all so close and I'm fucking around. It just sounds like you're saying horrific things to just the open world. So we didn't We didn't put any of them
Isn't that
out.
what Cum Town like basically was?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And I think we would get drunk and be like, who the fuck are we if not Come Down? We would probably just do that in our weird little ego brains because
Yeah.
we're just drunk and 3 comedians sitting in a house and like, no one's going to listen to this. We'll say whatever. And we just never put them out.
Yeah, I wonder how much you could actually like, because I wonder how much of it you really can't say. The problem is like in comedy, there's a certain level. I don't know. Like with Shane Gillis, it kind of elevated his career
Yeah.
that all of that happened. But it was a result of him just making stupid jokes on his podcast. And it makes me think like how much can you really get away with?
Yeah.
And how much can't you? Because he was just kidding. And it really wasn't even that offensive of a joke.
No.
And that's the type of shit I would say.
As a person that's listened to his podcast before he got canceled, he said so much worse on that podcast before. He
Yeah.
would say just shit you're like, oh man, I don't know if you should say that. So, but we would do that, but it's just, I realize you have to have like a baseline amount of people that like you first. When you're an open micer, you can't go up and be like, oh, he's fucking chinks over here, huh? Like Shane did. You can't, cause at an open micer, people are just gonna be like, whoa, man, and then ignore you. He already was like a road feature. He had fans. He had people that listened to the podcast. So there's still people that are like, gonna be what you and me did. Like, I thought it was funny. I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think, he was kidding. But if you don't have like at least a base level, a coding layer, just a little bit of actual fans, then
Yeah.
it's no matter what you say. Because I've seen people on specials say stuff that I'm like, if you said that in an open mic and no one knew you, you would get, they would be very upset with you.
What was that thing with Tony Hinchcliffe and the Asian guy? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. I try and ignore Tony Hinchcliffe as much as I can, but I do remember that.
That was actually how he got on my radar. Was
Really?
that? It was kind of funny that's how that happened because it was around like 2013 or 2014 back then. It was way before Kill Tony became what it is now.
Okay.
you know?
Maybe
But-
I'm thinking of the wrong Asian guy thing then.
I don't remember what. Yeah, probably.
I remember in COVID he got in trouble too because he called some guy a fucking chink on stage.
Maybe that is what I'm talking. Maybe it's not as long ago as I thought it was. then.
I just remember it was right before Joe Rogan's club got opened because he was already in Texas because they were doing stand up there because he couldn't do stand up other places. And he had a video like of some guy put out of him going, one more time for that fucking chink that just went up, and everyone's like, and then he cut it there. Yeah. But then someone else took a whole video of the guy's set beforehand and then Tony's set after, and it's still not great to say that, but the whole Chinese guy, a whole set was just making fun of Chinese people and saying how much he loves America, and then Tony went up and made fun of that. Still don't think it was the coolest thing to say, but it at least gave it more context, I guess. I'm not a fan of him, so I didn't really give a shit either way, but then it was just that same thing of like, people are like, no, I'm going to cancel you. And then other people being like, well, it's free speech. And all these free speech right-wingers come in and like, you can't, I like this guy now. Like, how many fans did he gain for calling Puerto Rico an island of trash just because guys didn't even think it was funny, but they're like, and that's what we're doing. We're saying shit like that to the left. Fuck yeah, dude. Like, and like how many people are fans of Stav on the left because he just basically told Theo Vaughn we shouldn't have billionaires. People will just hitch their wagon to something if they're like, fuck yeah, it sounds like he agrees with me. And they just hitch their wagon to it.
Yeah.
But now I'm on another long rant of fucking nothing.
No, dude.
Make your friends come. There we go. I had to end it silly.
Would you
End my dumb rant
would
silly.
you fuck a banana or would you not fuck a banana? That's that's you know what? That is a good question actually. Would you fuck a banana?
How so?
You could do the mouth. And you're going to get paid for it, but it's not a disclosed amount.
You said mouth. Now this, do I make the banana blow me or do I just have to blow a banana awkwardly? How do you know when you're done blowing a banana? It doesn't come.
10-second minimum.
That's one of the world's greatest questions right there. How do you know when you've done blowing a banana?
I told you, dude. We asked the real
That's
questions.
what I'm saying. This is stuff that I expected the whole time for me to be talking about, not being like, "Ooh, fucking look at comedy through a lens." God, I got so pretentious and dumb.
That was my out for you right there.
Yeah, good. I needed it. I'm like, hey, back to sillies. Anyways, you have any good farts recently? Like,
How about fucking bananas, dude?
Dude,
would you fuck a banana or nah? That's a good question for anybody at any time. You know, ask your grandma that. She probably would give you a great reaction. Would you have sex with a banana? Because you know what? It forces an image into your mind.
I would only allow that if her quick reaction would be like, Frozen. You go, what? Oh.
Wow, that's a great answer.
That's what I'm saying. That means she's thought about it.
Yeah.
You're a well-versed woman.
That'd be a little frightening. Be like, do you have any bananas in the house? Check the freezer.
Right.
You know.
All right, we gotta go back to my level of content. You have any good farts recently? You got any good stories?
Well, no, not any like great. I mean, like, no, nothing good. Like, just like standing there around other people and just farting and then like having that happen and just knowing that I did it. I farted out a customer recently.
Oh, I've cleared out a train cart before.
See, that's nice.
Yeah.
I have a good fart story.
I like it.
I like when
I'm alone now. And it's funny, and it's like not even like some of them did leave to get off. I know they did, but I watched 2 different people leave and go to another cart. So I'm like, that I did that. That was my power of will through my body, my choice.
Yeah.
I farted, and now you have to leave. I'm fucking.
You know what? It's appropriate though. It's appropriate. You gotta like sometimes you have to. It's like a natural defense mechanism in animals, right? Like a squirrel, or not a squirrel, a skunk. A skunk would do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can just get to it. Like Louis C.K. had a bit. He goes, "I just wish I could come on command as a defense mechanism. I would just be like a squid, where I just like just throw it at you."
Yeah.
Which hindsight with what he's got in trouble for, it's pretty funny. He wrote a joke like that, but
makes it funnier.
Yeah, but it's just I'll clear out a motherfucker. I'm getting my revenge, though. I was a chubby kid, so when you're a chubby kid and someone smells a fart, it's your fault. It doesn't matter. I could be in school, and I could be 2 classes over, and someone smells a fart, and they go, nah, I'm pretty sure Chase fucking walked by. That piece of shit. He's so fat. So now that I'm an adult, I'm getting so many revenge farts. I'm getting so many. I drop a nasty one next to somebody, and I walk a little bit away, and I just hit a... Jesus, you know what I mean? I'm getting back to them now.
Those are the best farts, when you can like have a purpose with it, right? When the fart has its own reason for existing, you know? You want to give the fart a story. And you're doing that way.
I try to.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean? You only get so many left in your life, dude. You got to give every one of them an opportunity.
That's a great way to look at it.
How many
man.
farts left do you have left?
That's, you know what?
No one thinks about that.
No one thinks about that. And if you actually saw the number, you'd probably be a little upset.
That's what I'm saying. You only have so few farts. Like, you won't think it's a lot, but one day, dude, you don't get any farts anymore.
Because, like, some days I don't even fart. So when I think about it, like, it could be in the thousands for all I know. It could be in the hundreds.
Could be running light. That's what I'm saying, dude. Mexican guys talk about you only get so many comes in your life. I'm talking about you only get so many farts in your life, dude. Live them up. In 3rd grade, me and my buddy Tyler would fart so often and with so much pride that our teacher had to tell us to, like, exit class to fart. Because we would just, which is so much just glee. Just like, hold on, everybody, and just raising legs, ripping. Thought it was the funniest thing ever. So then we had to like go and exit, like remove ourselves from the classroom. But then we just started being dickheads about it. We would go up to the door and then just stick just our ass out into the hallway and then fart. But then you get the echo from the hallway of just a solo ass farting. It was probably that's the peak of my life. I peaked in 3rd grade farting in Mrs. Lewis's class with Tyler Sosnowski.
Yeah.
I had to drop the details so you know it's fucking real.
The Wonder Years, guys.
Dude.
I mean,
that was the funniest I've ever been.
Really? That's where you discovered comedy.
I think that's where I started and peaked right there, and it's been nothing but downhill since. Now I'm like writing dick jokes. I'm like, it's not as funny as farting into an empty hallway that it echoes.
You could probably still pull it off, though, dude. Like, you could be the farting comic. If you could pull the farts back out of you, and all it is a good change in diet.
But I'm saying then I'm wasting good farts on open mics, dude. I might run out quicker.
You might have
then
more
when I'm 65, I don't have any farts left.
I hear
That's
you.
not a life I want to live.
But what I'm saying is, I think if you think about it, you could probably achieve more farts in your lifetime if you set your mind to it.
Right, pump the numbers up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like, you're acting like it's a set number that you don't have any agency with.
I think it is a set number.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it is a set number, but there's free will within this. Like, you could eat more broccoli.
Maybe, but I think that'll just bring them quicker. Like, let's say you got 1,000 left. I think if you eat more broccoli, you're getting 3 a day instead of 1 a day, hypothetically.
This is an interesting
Then you come to 40. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be a 50-year-old man that can't fart. That's not a life I want to live.
So it's like you have only so much gas in you, and you're all gassed up.
It's like energy, dude. You can't create or destroy it. It's only a set amount.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
I'm saying, dude.
And I didn't think about it like that. I was thinking that it was like you could change this, but if you're saying like you're born with so many farts.
I don't have religion, but you have a set fart number, dude.
Can you imagine if it was like you were born this is like a good sci-fi novel, right?
Oh, man.
And like on you, there's like a number. It says it on your chest, and it's how many farts you got left. Yeah, and every time you fart, the number goes down.
Yep. See, people have done that with like minutes of your life or like amount of money you have. I've seen like Isaiah Rashad had a video like that, but no one's ever thought farts. That's what I'm saying. I'm scratching stuff that no one's even thought about. Do you know what I mean? Like fart stuff.
Dude, this is actually a great idea though, because if you could find a way, like the farts have to have like some kind of there's got to be some reason for the farts to be important. Like it can't just be that you fart. It has to be like, if it's a sci-fi novel, the farts have to hold a little weight, right? So like, what would make it like, what could make a fart magical? Like what would make a fart really different than like what we know a fart to be? Every time you fart, the number goes down, but also
Every fart I have is magical already.
So that's what it is. You experience magic. You like feel this magical like,
it's like
elation.
A little burst of heroin.
Yeah, every fart.
For a second, you're like, yeah. Oh, fucking Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. That would be a great novel. It'd be like A Brave New World, but like 2025, you know?
I have not seen A Brave New World or read it. See, I said seen because I assume most things are TV shows or movies.
It became a TV show, but the show is like ass.
Yeah.
It's so ass. Dude, everything... Do you agree with the theory that everything sucks now on TV and movies? You like new movies? Or
I'll find a thing here and there that is okay, but there's not... It's just streaming has changed so much, and just society has changed. Like, there's so many more shows where it's like the point of the show is just like we're gonna feel good. And it's like, do you remember? I didn't ever watch it too much. Did you watch Malcolm in the Middle?
Yes.
That whole show, like the vibe it made you feel was like melancholy. You didn't leave that show like Modern Family, where you're like, I like Modern Family. It's funny. There's a lot of jokes per second. But Modern Family, you leave like, wow, we learned something, and my family loves each other, and we're really grateful, and you leave happy. Malcolm in the Middle, every episode just felt like so melancholy. You're just like, I mean, maybe that's life. That's what every episode felt like to me. I didn't watch it a whole lot, so I could be wrong. But every episode slightly just felt like, yeah, not every ending's a happy one. Sometimes they're just okay. Move on. You're like, all right. But TV shows now, it's just always like Schitt's Creek and Shrinking. I like those shows for the jokes in them. I can appreciate sitcom writing. But they're both shows that's like, everything's awesome and we're having such a fun time. Even when things are bad, we're happy about it. It's like, none of you ever had to deal with like a car accident or like not paying rent or your sibling hates you or you had a miscarriage. None of that has ever happened? No? Okay, everything's just... So yeah, that's another rant.
There's a show, you ever watch the
funny.
show Community or no?
Yes, I think it got a little weird.
Oh, it got worse. But the first couple seasons, I think, did that pretty well.
Yes.
Where it did that thing where it was like talking about serious topics, but it addressed them in a way where like it was...
Yeah.
It wasn't like being preachy with it or being, hey, everything's great.
And I don't need the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I don't need you to teach me about like, their life has real hard stuff with it. But it's just like, give a little bit of, you know what I mean? Make it semi-relatable. All these people in nice houses with nice lives, and even their problems are like not really that big of a problem. Like...
Yeah.
My friend and me had a miscommunication, and then he canceled lunch, and now he won't talk to me. But at the end of the episode, we'll have wine and confess our true feelings for each other, that we love each other. It's like, that's your issue? No, I walked out of my job, and I got in a car accident. I got to try and pay for life now. So show me those episodes, dude. Come on. They don't, though. They don't.
That would be awesome if it was like a happy-go-lucky sitcom, but every episode was like some major tragedy.
That's what I'm saying. I could live with that if they're happy-go-lucky, and he's like, well, I got in a car accident, and it's total. Now I can't get to work, and I don't know how I'm going to pay to live in this new city I moved to. And they're like then I'm like, okay, what do you got for me? I would say, like, Shameless kind of did that, but Shameless wasn't happy-go-lucky, and it wasn't a sitcom, but it made a lot of people feel seen of like, hey, shit's not perfect. Shit's bad.
Yeah.
That's why I liked growing up. I don't like but growing up, my family would always have on, what's that right-wing lady? Roseanne.
Oh, yeah.
They'd always have Roseanne on because that was like the first family that it's like they had to scrape together money to pay bills, and they lived in a cozy house that wasn't new. Like, it was just very like, oh no, we're lower middle class. And every TV show, it seems like, maybe I'm getting too smart for my own. So stop me if I'm fucking getting too carried away. Maybe it's just a fucking reflection of what society has become. I think that's why the left lost is because they forgot the working class. And I'm just kidding. I just go crazy. I'm completely fucking around.
You start running for office.
No, dude, if I ever start talking politics, it's a prerequisite to talk about how I hate that everyone is so opinionated now.
For me, the problem is I think people get too caught on like specific figures and specific things that they lose sight of the bigger picture of it all, dude. Because really, like, if you truly wanted to have the best thing for everybody, you don't want to get lost in the weeds and you don't want to get upset about so-and-so. You want to like just keep sight of that bigger picture. How do we move forward and achieve the best possible thing for everybody?
Yeah.
But I think like, and ultimately, you know, how do you stop people from doing that? You make them argue about the dumbest shit. And that's what we all do. We argue about the dumbest shit.
Yeah, that's where I stand. I try not to get political. Like people don't like hearing it, but I didn't vote the last one because I didn't want anyone going like, oh, you vote. I don't need that. I like people on both sides. I live in a city, so I'm around more left people, but I'm from the country and I go there and they're not the worst people. Like me and a buddy Cam of mine are talking about like we hate when people call it the flyover states. It's like they make so much of our food that's so insulting to be like, the flyover states, who cares? And like people that don't leave the big cities, it's like they're so surprised the election went the way it did. It's like go out and meet people sometimes because it's like in cities people are very one-sided thought, but it's like you go out and meet other people, it's like people are just so, and I know it's so cheap, like so divided, and it's just that it's like stop arguing over dumb shit that doesn't matter. That like, so I don't know. I try and avoid politics as much as I know I'm also too stupid to fully like. If I ever am like, I like this idea, I know that someone within 5 minutes could do some research and go, here's why it's bad. You shouldn't like that. With anything though.
Yep.
So I just try and like, dude, I know it's an ignorant and it's a fucking, I'm bad at words. Like a privilege. It's a privileged stance to take, but I'm really trying to just. I don't want anybody mad at me. I like liking people, and I like when people like me. I don't want you to dislike me because I voted some way. Like,
yeah. And the problem is, again, that like it doesn't. Most of the time, it doesn't really define you, like who you make this choice about. Like with this one specific thing that you choose in your life, most of the time that doesn't define you. But for some reason, with politics, it just happens to. It's politics and I guess religion. A lot of people get mad about that.
Yeah,
I don't really think
that
about
one's starting
it
to fade a little bit.
Yeah. But that's always been the kind of the general rule. It's like you don't talk about politics and religion and you're safe.
Yeah. I think I'm weird. I think religion is dumb, but I like that we have it.
So yeah, I think that I agree with you. I think that like for the most part,
wearing a shirt that says Luke. I don't mean to shit talk. I'm sorry.
Oh no, dude. I actually just got this shirt because I think it's funny. Okay. Tweet others how you want to be tweeted.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I didn't mean to get if you are religious. I think a lot of people lose sight of like what you said, the big picture and people are people and stuff. When they lose sight with anything like politics and religion, they just kind of lose sight of that and just keep going. Like
it's a tribalistic thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like I do like religion because I think it keeps people centered. I think it's good for a lot of people. I think a lot of people have found a lot of like positive from it, and I love that for people. But I also think it's bad because a lot of times people just get so like just a tribal mentality of it. Mob mentality almost. It's like you're with us or you're against us, and it's
hey, you see that at sports games too though.
Literally. It's everywhere though. It's everywhere. That's why I think sports is dumb because it promotes more of like the dumb like, oh, you just focus on the Super Bowl instead of what's happening in the government. But also it's fun. It's fun to go rah 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 and get that out and then go do other stuff. I think it's stupid when people are so like I love the Lions. It's not my whole life, though. I'm going to watch a game. I'm going to think about it a little bit. I'm going to move on. Same with politics. Just when people are both like, this is my thing. Whether it be a sports team or a politician, it's like, they don't know you. Why do you care so much, dude? Chill out. I love the Lions. Those motherfuckers ain't never heard of me. They've never once thought like, Chase Richards rooting us on today. They've never thought that.
Yeah.
So I win, lose, I hope they win. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's not, you know what I mean? That's not a reflection of me. It's just a thing that I like that happened. Anyways.
Yeah. I've always felt like, it's just interesting because it with sports teams, it's all about where you were born and how that just happened to work out.
Literally.
Because you could be born anywhere and any team just happened to be like placed on top of you.
Yep. And then some people will be fans of other, like I know a lot of people in Chicago that are fans of non-Chicago teams.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't matter at all. That's made up pretend. It's sports. It's fun. It doesn't have real consequences to anything.
Yeah. But people have rules around this.
Yes, but it is, I still think whoever wins the Super Bowl, it does not affect anyone's everyday life. It does not matter at all. I do still find it weird if you're from a city and you go, no, I like a team from another city.
Exactly.
That's weird. It doesn't matter at all, but it is weird still. It's that still. It's just deep set in us to have our own little groups and be in our groups, and other groups are bad and weird. It's
so interesting how that is. Like, again, I think mushrooms taught me the opposite, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because it kind of like teaches you like, oh, we just do that as humans.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm not actually any of those things.
Mushrooms can teach you a good lesson, but I also think people can get too lost in the sauce and start.
Oh, for everything though.
Yeah, exactly. And just like I've had friends that they did acid and they were like cool, and that's why they had unique perspectives. Then they did too much acid, and it's like, you're not even a part of this world anymore. You're like, I wish it could all like, let's not even have possessions, man. We don't need, like, I wish it was like that, but it's not, dude. You still got to have a job. You still got to show, like.
I like to call those people DMT crackheads. That's the theory I put in my list of ideas for when I finally start stand-up. That's on the list.
Yeah.
DMT crackheads, because that's a whole... Those people are real, and everybody's met one.
Yeah.
At least one.
They've just gone off the deep end.
Yep.
And you feel bad because they were normal, and they, even on acid, they started having like, oh, smarter revelations, whatever, but then just went too far.
Mm-hmm. And it's sad because you, like, if you knew them beforehand, you actually saw the derailment.
That's what I'm saying. You saw them slowly, you're like, just get weird. I have a comedian like that. I'm not going to say names. I've said a lot of names on this one, but I've also said positive things. But there's a comedian I met somewhere along down the road that I met him.
Oh, sorry about that. It's the cat. She's being violent.
I just met him pre him doing too much acid, and then I seen him again later, and you could just tell. Yeah, pissed, dude. I'm trying to be in the podcast.
Yeah, you gotta let the pussies have their moment.
Come on up. Want some nicotine?
Yeah. She's upset. You never gave her any.
Frig.
I mean, we'll turn off the cameras. We'll do the nicotine. We'll come back. Well, I'm sorry. The Patreon, folks. Patreon. We'll show you cats doing drugs.
Do you have a Patreon?
I actually do.
Nice. Okay.
I actually do. That's the way to go.
I was gonna say you might. If you didn't, I was gonna say you might as well. You might as well start one just to have one.
Well, I mean, what it is I had it for music, but then I realized, what were we talking about just before this when I let the cat in?
Whoever knows.
Ah, fuck, dude, because I had a response.
I'm rambling about,
say something.
You're letting me ramble about shit acting like I'm smart, so I have no idea. The minute I say it, I'm like, why the fuck did you say that? And I black it out, so.
He won't remember this.
No.
He's going to watch it all back like, oh my God.
I was a fucking asshole.
I was going to say, I think it is true though that like people often like what we said about how like one comedian will go out and say like one opinion. They'll just say like one vague opinion, and then people just assume like, oh, they're with that side.
Yep.
And that's like, it's just so annoying because people, who really gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Who really gives a fuck what your favorite comedian's like political affiliation is? Like, why does the world have to fucking care about
Open
this
micers
shit,
really care. That's why. And it's a horrible position to take, but complaining as a straight white guy, it's hard though, because people always, especially with me, I've just always known what I'm not. For my hometown, I'm not Republican enough. I have a nose ring, and I don't have a beard, and I didn't vote Trump, and I don't have a truck. But then I go to cities, and I'm not liberal enough. I'm a straight white guy, and I probably don't. They always just make assumptions of like every group of like what I probably don't like and this and that. So every time I'm on stage, my first couple jokes is just trying to make me like approachable, just a guy. I'm a silly little goose. I'm here to tell you funnies. I'm not here to go, oh, I'm fucking Trump. I'm none of that, dude. So it's such a dumb position to complain as a straight white guy about my position, but I just have been trying to be extra conscious about making people like, hey, man, I just want to be your buddy. I just want to be your friend. I'm not against whatever you like. I'm not, whatever group you think I don't like, I promise you I probably like them. I am so, but like, I don't know, both hard left-leaning and hard right-leaning people see me and they automatically, I assume, like I voted opposite of them. Both groups. So that's why I just didn't vote. I'm like, everyone already assumes that I'm voted out. Like, it's so weird. I have like both groups are like, no, you're not. I can tell you're not with us. And it's like, all right, just want to be your pal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I wonder what that is.
That's why I just don't like politics, man. It just makes people fucking weird.
It makes people weird, and it makes people presumptuous in such a way.
Yeah.
That people presume things
exactly
like that, and it's like, why are you even thinking in such a way? Like, and the thing is too, like, even if you say something that's like ultimately vague, they're gonna line it up with all the other things that they already thought, or that people who would say similar things. People have ideas about like dog whistling now. Like if you say one thing, it actually means you think something else.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you saying to
I had
me?
it even like when I'm trying to reassure, like, oh, I'm not some hard Republican, and I'll do a joke about like having gay dreams. I'm like, oh, you fellas ever have gay dreams? I open up and I start talking about that. But then people after will come up and be like, it's so brave of you to like talk about your gay dream. And it's like, no, I'm not trying to be brave. It's just supposed to be funny. Like, it's not supposed to be like me coming out of the closet. It's not supposed to be brave. It's supposed to be funny.
You said it was brave.
I've gotten brave, yeah. A lot of straight guys won't talk about gay thoughts that they have. And it's like, yeah, they won't. And I'm not doing it to be brave. I'm doing it because I think it's funny.
I mean, that's funny that they took it serious.
Yeah.
They were like, that inspired me. They probably like the next day.
I guess so, because the point they were making is that a lot of straight guys won't go up and say something like, because I have jokes that like, I have so many jokes that you're like, is this fucking guy like it's because I think it's funny to just like, I have jokes about, I tell people about gay dreams I've had, and I go, I know you motherfuckers have had gay dreams. A lot of people like tense up and I go, oh, okay, everyone's so straight here. Or I'll do jokes like, I have one of them that's literally like, I talk about gay chicken. I don't know if you ever remember that game.
No.
It's from like middle school. If you just like had someone's leg open, you would just like run your hand up their leg.
Oh, I do remember that game.
And you go like, stop. And my punchline of it goes, I would always win. I don't stop till they come. And people now, it's like, I'm not being serious, but I'm just, my willingness to joke about it shows you like, hey man, I'm not some hard right winger that's like, fuck gay people. No, I'm being silly about it. Like, I want it to be so just likable for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
People just, like you said, people just get, like they pre-assume things. They just assume like you're gonna be one way or another, and they just kind of start putting you in boxes. And
what can you even like do other than just be silly? Yeah, that's all you can really do.
Literally.
I think like another thing too though is like different comedy scenes are different. Like with that that thing about different places, like if you were here and you did some of the comedy you see here, I think the same thing like what you said earlier, where it's like, you need to get out more because because it's so different. You need to see how other people think, because when you like, I'll see some people do stuff at open mics or shit like that here. I'm like, oh, this would only work in this room.
Yep.
That's not going to work if you took this out of this state and then went to some
I've
rural
seen it happen
town.
on like smaller, like I've had friends that never left Grand Rapids, and then we got to do a paid show like out in the country, and they did their spot, and a woman literally came up to him afterwards, and she's like, you were funny. I would have laughed harder if we were in Grand Rapids. Just meaning like, these people don't like that. I'm not laughing at. I liked it. They didn't, but I'm not gonna laugh and show all that. You know what I mean? Like, because you just gotta travel and you gotta. But that's what makes it hard though. Because if you're doing something that everyone likes, then it's hack. You know what I mean? It's.
Oh, really?
If you're just doing,
why?
If everyone likes it, it's been. You know what I mean? It's been done before. It's been said before. Like. Colin
it's Jim
Quinn,
Gaffigan.
Right. Colin Quinn said no one you should never have all of the room like you ever doing stand-up. Not everyone in the room should agree with you, because if you are, then you're doing hack, stupid, not worth the shit, but it's not true to you. It's just you're saying things that people like and agree with.
See, and that's what I was going to say too, is
Man,
like when it gets to that.
My wife sure is crazy.
Yeah.
My kids sure are a lot. Oh, I like having sex, but my wife tells me no. Just stuff that everyone can be like, all right, yeah, I'm related to that. Just like I said earlier, it's a pop song. You can throw it on the radio and go, oh, okay, beeps and boops, I like it.
Yeah, you can only be so universal.
There's no real depth to it, though.
Yeah.
Found the water bottle.
Yeah. There is no real depth to it. At a certain point, it just kind of becomes like it almost becomes like kind of formulaic.
Yes.
Like you can expect where everything's going to go.
Yep.
That's interesting, because like that's what I was going to say is like with trying to appeal to people and trying to like do the right thing and not give people the wrong idea, at a certain point you have to like battle that. You have to put that at odds with also being authentic and saying what you want to say.
Yeah.
Because you can only do so much of that. You can only hold back so much and conceal so much. It's kind of like finding just the right amount. Like for me, that's why I like songwriting and poetry and shit like that. Like that's what got me into that in the first place, is you can say things in a way, like if I'm saying it in a conversation, it doesn't communicate in the same way that it would if I can put it in a poem or a song or whatever. I can get through to you in a way I never could otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
And comedy allows for that too.
Yeah.
You can write a joke that's a truth,
Yeah.
But most people wouldn't acknowledge it until they heard it.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I
comedically.
like music so much, is because you can feel so related. Like, you can feel like, oh, I didn't know I thought I was the only one feeling this, and then they just articulated it in a way. Like, that's why I love Mac Miller, because he would say so many things where I'm like, oh, fuck, you just articulated something I didn't even know. I would feel, but I didn't know how to put it into words, and you did it perfectly. So it's like, how do you not relate to that shit? And then it's the same with comedy. Someone will say a truth. You go, I've also thought that. You know, like, that's some of the best jokes. It's something that you're like, I'm trying to think of, like, just something like dirty, like something that you wouldn't normally admit to, but then once other people are, you're like, oh, I guess I do that. Like, trying to think, just biting your toenails. It's not a thing I do, but like a comedian will go, oh, I actually do bite my toenails, and you will have people in the crowd go, oh, gross. But then some people in that crowd will go, I actually do. I didn't know other people did that. That's funny. I feel seen. Like, you don't want all the crowd on your side. You want that individual stuff that's gonna get some people like, that is fucking true, and some people it's not gonna sit right with. Like, that's good comedy.
Yeah.
If everyone likes it, it's who likes pizza? Man, pizza sure is good. I have my kids and they just eat all the last pizza, and I go, ooh, I wanted some of that pizza. Like, that's, and they go, it's so good. Like, pizza. Yeah, exactly. It's dumb. It's so dumb.
But it's really hard to comedy is so interesting to me because again, like, it's its own thing. Like 5 years, 10 years, that's like the regular comic. That's how long it would take to really even become a regular comic. So I think it takes a long time to figure out how to do that, how to go on a stage and how to like be yourself in a way that's not also like, that's not also too out there, because like some people go too far in that direction and they try too hard to be themselves.
People either don't acknowledge it or don't want to admit it, but I'll even say, like, that's one of my biggest things is working on being myself on stage. I think I have an on-stage funny, and I think I have an off-stage funny, and I want to bring more of my off-stage on stage. Like, I want to be more genuine to myself. It's like, I'll be funny off stage. I'm like, why can't I bring that moment, that feeling, that, like, whatever I said, any of that onto stage? I don't want to go up on stage and, you watch South Park?
Yeah.
Turn into Jimmy Vollmer. Hey, how we doing, folks? Oh, would love the audience. Like, you can see it in some people, and I see it myself sometimes. Louis J. Gomez, that's a great example. He's a great podcaster. He flows and he knows how to keep conversation rolling, but his stand-up, I watched it recently, and it's very like, and then how were we? Okay, good. Like, it's so robotic and not himself. And I see it in him. I see it in me. I see it with so many people, and the people won't admit it, but it is the biggest thing. It's like, no, be yourself up there, and then making yourself funny.
Yeah.
Instead of being what you think is funny.
Yeah. And it's kind of like with the podcast thing existing, that it gives you the opportunity to know he's doing that, too.
Exactly, yeah. Because
You know what
if
he's
I were to
like.
just watch his stand-up, I wouldn't like or follow him. But I've seen his podcast, and I like that they're different, and they're live, and they're fun. So I was like, oh, I'll give his stand-up a chance. And then I watch it, and I was like, holy shit, it's not. He's done well for himself, but boy, his stand-up could use some work.
Yeah, it's rigid, just a little bit like
Just
tight.
so robotic.
Yeah.
You can see, like, just from the hours of podcast you see with him acting like himself and the way he talks and the way his mannerisms. But then he goes on stage and he's very like, and how good. And then I seen this one thing and it led to another thing. It's just very setup, punchline, boop. It's weird.
Yeah. And being yourself on a stage, though, because I think people like create a certain version of their stage persona. They're like, when I'm on stage, I can only do X, Y, and Z. Like, I can only do this. And then, like, when you do that, you kind of put yourself in a box rather than just going out there and letting yourself kind of roll with the punches.
Yeah, literally.
You need to, it's almost like, it almost is kind of like an improv-y thing. Like, I think you can't overplan it. You kind of have to allow yourself to at least be like, you know, in that moment. Because and every show is different too. So if you get too into that, you get too into like, I'm going to go out. Because I think that's ultimately what would have to cause somebody to be so tight. Is they have to be like overthinking it.
Yeah,
they have to have a version of them in their head.
Yeah, and it is. Like, it's like I said, you're trying to be what you think is funny.
Yeah.
Instead of just trusting yourself to be funny.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of that where I go up and I'm like, trying to think of like whether it be like a weird mic or something different or less people there, and I start going in my head, I'm like, well, my normal jokes aren't funny, and what I'm gonna go up there and act like comedian, it's not gonna be funny. And then I go up there and just riff and have fun and just be silly. And I am like, oh, that was just myself being fun. I think even where we met, I don't think I told any jokes that night. I was just being a fucking dickhead, just screwing around. And I was like, that was fun for me, and I hope other people enjoyed it, kind of stuff. Finding more of those moments instead of trying to just be something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that those are the most genuine moments, really. I think like if you can figure out how to do that, if you can figure out how to just be, because it's someone once called it the human element to me, and I thought like, wow, that's genius. Like, what a smart way to put it, because it's like, you know, there's people who can do things in a way and inject themselves within it, and it's not even about really what they did. Like, it's not really about the fact that you went up there and you performed. It's the fact that you like shined through that and people felt who you were.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of comedians in Chicago that I've seen here. I don't know their names to give them compliments, but there's a lot of them that I've seen that I don't necessarily remember their jokes that much, but I remember them just being so authentically them on stage that I'm like, that's something I would watch and something I would listen and follow. Like, God, I wish I could remember names so I could give them their flowers, but they'll just be so authentically themselves that it's like, you're not being a character. That's who you are.
Yeah.
And you can see it.
Yeah. And that's really impressive.
Nope.
Yeah, is it drooping
On full droop.
I knew it was going to happen. I saw it start to droop. There we go. Droop
Nice,
solved.
there we go.
I think if we even like...
Anti-droop. Bam.
Anti-droop technology. Anti-droop technology. Is it?
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Zero
Fancy.
drooping. Anti-droop technology sounds like something you'd put on a condom.
I was just about to say, it sounds like something you put in your car. Both can be true. Lube.
Lube is something that
Other
you could put
things?
on a condom and a
Rubber?
car. Rubber.
I don't know.
I like this. This is a fun game.
This seems like a very Mark Norman game. That's how he writes jokes. He's like, what are two things that are in common and then also different?
His brain is so interesting to me just because it seems like he's mastered the art of like saying the right thing at the right moment. Like that's his version of comedy, which is impressive. Like there's so many moments in life where I feel like I could have said the right thing 20 minutes later, and he's the guy who says it right away.
Yeah, it's
impressive.
a skill.
Yeah.
It's a skill I wish I had.
Yeah, for real. Did you are you familiar with Harlan Williams?
Yes, he's another one where it's like, how are you always in the fucking bit? Like, how do you...
Yeah.
Like, he's the one that when I'm doing, like, bits at work or the job I just quit where I would, like, tell him fake stories, I would just remember that. I'm like, just commit to the bit, dude. Fuck him.
It's almost like, because, again, like, with the thing of being so sure of yourself and being so sure of what you're doing is working, there's a line you have to walk because, like, someone like him does it so well. It's almost like Andy Kaufman-esque, like Norm Macdonald-esque, where the fact that you can commit to that bit so well
hard,
is kind of...
People don't even know where it ends and where you start.
Exactly. But that's a really hard thing to do right.
Yeah, no.
Because you
like,
could just be an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to, like, stay in it, like, all the time. That's so... I couldn't.
It's crazy to me because, like, Harlan Williams, like, I know him from his recent stuff, but he's been that guy for so long.
I've only seen him doing it on podcasts recently. I know him from, like, movies in the 90s, but then you see him on podcasts now, and you're like, oh, have you always been this fucking just a silly goose?
And he is.
We might have to wrap this up soon. I gotta fucking pee. I'm trying to, like, wiggle. If anyone's noticed, I've been wiggling so much.
I thought it was because of how uncomfortable my couch
No,
was.
I'm big chilling. I just started having to pee, and I'm like, dude, if I was on Rogan, you gotta be a fucking man and not pee.
No, I'd piss.
And that lasted like 10 minutes, and I've just been sitting here like,
yeah. I'd be like, Joe, I'm gonna pee at least 4 times.
Yep.
Can I have a water bottle? Is that all right? Can I be the first person to pee in this chair?
Oh, people have peed. Ari Shafir does it like every time, I think.
He peed himself?
He pees in the studio, yeah. Because I just know they've complained about it. Which I'm going to go do. I'm going to go piss in this studio.
All right, folks. Ruse Radio, episode 119. It was a blast. Hope you guys had some fun, because I know I sure did. It was a pleasure meeting you, sir. Chase Richard. Where can the people find you on the social medias? This is your chance to give them a final dumb guy message for them to take home and go play Xbox with.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and YouTube, the only 2 places I actually post things. I'm Chase Richard. I am. I need to change it. And make your friends come. It is funny. It's not gay unless you make it gay. It's just funny.
He has a point, folks. Think about it. And also, I remember hearing something a long time ago that I still believe in very dearly. It's called no homo. Okay? You say those 2 words, and I don't think anything is gay.
The kids call it no diddy now.
Yeah, well, we're in a brave new world, as we have established. Thank you for being here, folks. Thank you for being here for real, sir. I'd love to have you on sometime again. Yeah. You're a natural. I bet you listen to podcasts all the time.
That feels like an insult. That feels like you're being mean to me.
I listen to them an unhealthy amount.
That feels mean. I hate that you're right. It feels mean.
You must have no life just like me.
That's what I'm saying. Catch me playing Xbox, listening to podcasts.
It's only the reason it's not an insult is because I identify as just as bad.
Okay. All right. That makes me feel slightly better.
Like, I think, like, I've thought about this. Like, I've had, like, philosophical conversations with myself. Like, am I just going to be the guy who spends his whole life just doing nothing and listening to podcasts? And I think, like, we're getting there. We're on our way.
See, if you get an Xbox 360, you don't ask questions like that. You just fucking go.
See, you're more enlightened than me. You don't realize how enlightened you are, sir.
Yeah.
There's some wisdom within that Xbox.
I'm gonna get that clip alone. That's gonna fuel the rest of my career.
Every time you boot that thing up, you're gonna play that and be like,
I'm a pretty smart guy, actually.
This is my future. Well, thank you for being here, folks. As you can see, Oscar has entered the room. Oscar, do you got anything to say? You got anything to say, Oscar? I think you guys can hear that. We got the tongue action. All right. With that being said, folks, Ruse Radio, clocking out.
Oscar loved it.
I got the world in my pocket, got a girl on my arm, got an eye in my socket, whirlwinds in my palms. I'm a free man, let me lead you along. I can show you something different, let me sing you a song. Ain't no algorithm touch me, ain't no balance this lovely. I find a way to find a way out.